up? Yeah.
Kane is in the building.
Yeah. Already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come up. The show goes on all right. Already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come up. The show goes on.
Have you ever had the feeling that you was being had? Don't that shit that make you mad? They treat you like a slave, put chains all on your soul and put whips up on your back. They be lying through their teeth, hope you slip up off your path. I don't switch up, I just laugh, put my kicks up on their desk, unaffected by...
Thank you guys for tuning in to a special edition of the Sit Down with Malik, Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. This is our 2024 NFL Round 1 draft coverage. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by Joe Goodberry, Glenn Goodberry, but I'm live with my guy, Daniel Alameda. We'll be giving you guys our opinions as the picks come in, not just on the Cincinnati Bengals picks, but all of the picks for Round 1. Excuse the delay. Had a little bit of sound, technical difficulties, I'd say, but more, it doesn't feel like we missed too much, obviously, because, the commissioner is obviously just now taking the stage. So, all in all, I feel like we pretty much know how the first 2 picks might go, right? A couple of picks might go, first 3 picks, and they obviously are going to drag this thing out. But it's going to be very interesting to me to see how these picks are going to affect the Bengals. Obviously, it's a lot of teams talking about potentially moving up, trying to see what works for them. I was told the Rams are moving up to draft an offensive lineman, which was a shock to me because you would think, obviously, with the retirement of a guy like Aaron Donald, undoubtedly, they'd probably move up to draft a defensive tackle, maybe one by the name of Byron Murphy, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But, Daniel, what are your thoughts, man? Before we jump into this thing, we've got all night. This is probably the longest stream we've ever done. But what are your thoughts on this draft stream? What are your thoughts on the Bengals pick at 18 and all the rumors that came with today?
So I'm excited. First off, if you guys are watching this, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We got a lot of cool discussions to have. We got a lot of cool guests that we're going to have on here as well. So make sure you guys like this video. We appreciate you guys. But looking at the draft, this is Christmas, Malik. This is Christmas. The way I'm viewing this, to be honest, is there's going to be picks flying off the board. I think there's going to be a lot of trades. The first couple things that, for me, that definitely stood out were the Rams, right? The Rams looking to move up. The Philadelphia Eagles looking to move up. I think we're going to see a different board, that falls the way that most of the mock drafts didn't fall. My biggest prediction, to be honest with you guys, is there was a lot of rumors. Daniel Jeremiah came out and said, offensive tackles, teams are going to trade up for OTs. I still think that's possible, but I think for pick number 18 with the Bengals, I think we're going to see some OTs still on the board. And I think we're going to, the Bengals,
where they could potentially trade back, because I think you'll have 4 quarterbacks that go off the board. For sure, the top 4, JJ McCarthy. I think we'll see Byron Murphy potentially go off the board. A couple of the defensive linemen go off the board. I really think that this is going to be a different draft than most people are expecting. My bold predictions are, I think one of the 3 top edge rushers will be there, whether it's a Laitu Latu, whether it's a Dallas Turner, whether it's a Jared Verse. I think one of those 3 will be there because of the plethora of quarterbacks, because of the plethora of wide receivers. So I'm excited, Malik. I'm excited. Like I said, I think the bold prediction for me is I think there will be an edge rusher sitting on the board at 18. And if I had to make a pick right now, I think the 3 guys the Bengals will have to choose from is Jared Verse, Jerzon Newton, and I'm going to make the prediction. I think Olu Fashanu is there. I think at pick number 18, if the Bengals don't move back, I think those are 3 guys, Verse, Newton, and Olu Fashanu. I think it'll be between those 3.
But if we're talking about it, I don't see where an Olu Fashanu even makes sense for the Bengals. This is a guy that primarily plays the left tackle spot, and I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Bengals, so I don't even see him as a realistic fit or an ideal pick in any way, shape, or form. You and me both watched the film. We both turned on the film. We know what we saw when we watched a guy like Olu Fashanu, and it wasn't too much to be desired. But honestly, the Bengals have a left tackle, regardless of people like it or not, and his name is Orlando Brown Jr. So I think when you look at it, the Bengals are trying to find that right tackle of the future. Again, drafting a guy, I'm not drafting, signing a guy like Trent Brown Jr. makes you not have to reach for a guy, especially if there's a guy that you don't necessarily love. If you guys could do us a huge favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with our draft coverage. And we're pumped up. We're pumped up to bring this to you guys. Like I said, Joe Goodberry will be joining us a little bit later in the show, probably closer towards the Bengals pick. But I'm excited. We want you guys to do us a favor. Drop your questions down in the comment section. We want to get to them. We want to have you guys involved in the conversation. And yeah, I want to get to some of the questions that we have here now. We've got our producer, Marissa. She's got a hot mic tonight. Usually she doesn't have a mic, but she's got a mic tonight. Marissa, can we get to some of the questions, please?
We can, yes. Just to go off, like, first random question, but obviously still a prevalent one. What would be your most ideal pick for the Bengals at 18?
I mean, I think that my most ideal pick for the Bengals obviously would be Byron Murphy. I think he has the potential to be the best defender in this draft. And I think he has the potential to be a true game wrecker. And if you're the Bengals, you finally get that guy that you can plug and play in the middle of your defense. And he answers all those questions, at least for the next 5 years, right, at that spot. And it gives them stability that they haven't had in quite some time. So those are my thoughts. Danny, what say you?
I'm torn, man. I'm torn. I think Byron Murphy is the ideal pick. I don't think he'll be there. So if I'm going to give you something different, I'm going to go a little out there, Malik. I'm going to be honest. I think a trade back is where I'm going with. I really think that the Bengals are going to end up in a spot where you're going to be able to trade back, because I think there's going to be a ton of talent on the board. If Byron Murphy is not on the board, the way I'm looking at it is you're going to have your pick of the tackles, whether it's a Graham Barton, I believe he'll still be there. Whether it's a Mims, whether it's an Olu Fashanu, I think you're going to have your pick at all three of those guys. And I really think edge rusher is a possibility. Obviously, we heard the Trey Hendrickson news. Disregarding that, at the end of the day, a guy like Jared Verse, a guy like Laitu Latu, specifically, let's talk about Jared Verse for a second. He steps in and immediately contributes. He steps in and is immediately at least your second best edge rusher on the team. 1000%. He was extremely productive at Florida State. He was, just a physical force. And the biggest knocks on him is, well, he's not super flashy. He relied on his brute strength. At the end of the day, the dude was productive. And if I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals first round pick, I want a blue chip prospect. I want a dude who was a 4 to 5 star recruit. I want a dude who's an elite athlete. I want a dude who produced at the college level. And I really think when you're at pick number 18 with whatever the 10 to 5 minutes on the clock, I'm really having a hard look at saying, hey, Jared Verse might be the best player available on the board. And at the end of the day, you got to weigh best player available and fit and need. And I think Jared Verse or Laitu Latu definitely are going to be one of the best players available.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit. I saw people in the comment section saying Olu could play right tackle in the league. I don't know what you've seen to make you feel that that confidently in saying that. It's really just, it's not that easy just to move a guy who has routinely played left tackle in his career, over to right tackle. And I think the Bengals have kind of found that out, obviously, throughout the process. It's not just that simple. So that's where my commentary on Olu was coming from. But Marissa, let's get to some more questions.
Yeah, so right here from Tarek Jaquez, what player do you think will go higher than most people are predicting?
Graham Barton. Graham Barton. I think Graham Barton's going to go a lot higher than what people are expecting him to go. And I think he's going to be a fine player. I think he's going to be a fine player in the league. We have the first pick in. I don't think there should be any shock here. Commissioner Roger Goodell is about to announce it. I'm expecting it to be USC's quarterback, Caleb Williams. And it is Caleb Williams. Dan, let's talk about Caleb Williams for a second, man. Obviously, we are going to be, discussing the Bengals picks and how these picks affect the Bengals. This has no bearing on the Bengals draft at all. I don't think the next pick will have any bearing on the Bengals draft at all. Yeah. I think once we get to pick maybe 8, that's when we'll start looking at these picks a little bit closer. But let's talk about Caleb Williams. What do you think Caleb Williams brings, to the Chicago Bears? How is he so much different than a guy that they've had in there in Justin Fields?
So Caleb Williams, I have a love and hate relationship with Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is a potential franchise quarterback. Do I think he is a can't miss prospect? Do I think he is a better by far prospect than a Joe Burrow, than a Andrew Luck? I don't think so. I think Caleb Williams has a ton of great traits. You look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you look at a guy like Josh Allen. I look at a guy like Kyler Murray, Malik. Kyler Murray in college was an elite college quarterback. I think that's a very similar comp to a Caleb Williams, to be honest. Caleb Williams, one of the things that people don't talk about, he's the smaller quarterback, Malik. I saw him stand up next to Jaden Daniels and Drake Maye. He's 6 foot, 6'1". Not that he can't succeed, but that definitely is a part of the conversation, right? So I think Caleb Williams will have success because I believe the Bears organization is setting him up for success. I really do believe that. I think Keenan Allen, what they've done with their entire offense, reshaped their offense. And apparently, with pick number 9, obviously Caleb wants his former high school offensive line, Olufashanu. They could go Rome Odunze. I think Caleb Williams is being set up for success with the Chicago Bears. And I just look at one last thing, Malik. I look at Vegas's win total. Their win total is 8.5. So right now, everybody's projecting the Bears to do extremely well. And I think that has to do with the situation around Caleb. So I still need to see more, of him working within a pocket. But I think Caleb's got high hopes, and it's not like he's going to a terrible roster. I think they're a decent roster right now.
I'm just not the biggest Caleb Williams guy. I'm just being honest with you, man. I think he is talented. I do think that the Mahomes comparisons that we saw often throughout his college career is just a little bit of a reach there. I think he is a fine player, man. I'm really curious to see how his skill set translates in the Chicago Bears. Listen, the team with the number 1 overall pick has the number 1 overall pick for a reason, right? And, going from USC where he struggled, man, I just wonder, will he be able to overcome the struggles with Chicago, man, and everything that comes with it? The Bears fan base they're loyal. Yes. But they're also ruthless, right? And I feel like the expectation for a guy like Caleb Williams is to come in day one, change the franchise, and be that difference maker. I don't mind him, wearing his emotions on his sleeve. I don't mind all that extra stuff that everybody else makes a big deal about. But I just think that Caleb Williams, he really needs to buckle up and hone in, because when a team takes you to be their first overall pick and their franchise quarterback, it comes with a responsibility. And the responsibility is to make sure that you're dialed in and day out, and you're not focused on the off the field stuff, such as your own brand and all that kind of stuff like that. So this is a situation in which I'm curious to see how it's all going to play out for him. I'm happy for Chicago Bears fans. I know that they're really excited for Caleb Williams. I will say let's hold the horses on all the high expectations that we have for him. Because I did a video a couple of weeks back where I asked people, I said, hey, what do we classify as a successful season for Caleb Williams? What are the expectations for a Caleb Williams who is routinely compared to Patrick Mahomes, who's routinely talked about as quote unquote generational? And that's a term that I hate when people throw out. I hate the term intangibles. I hate all of that. Listen, I'm curious to see what happens with Caleb Williams with Chicago. I'm curious to see what they do with their 9th pick. Will they go a Byron Murphy like the tea leaves have said? Will they go a Rome Odunze? I'm really curious to see what they do, man. But Daniel, let me ask you that. Since we're talking about, Caleb Williams, what would you classify as a success for him to, I guess, put a stamp on why he was picked with the first overall pick for the Chicago Bears? What are your expectations for him year one?
My expectations, Malik, I have high expectations for him. He's going to step in day one, and he doesn't have the excuse of Kyler Murray in his first year. He doesn't have the excuse of Joe Burrow. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's got DJ Moore. He has Cole Kmet. Yeah. I'm expecting them to put up, as an offense, at least top 15 numbers. And I'm expecting they cannot win any less than 5 games. Their offense is too talented, and he's going to have growing pains. They are going to lose games, but he deserves, or he needs to step in day one and be amongst one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL. Not, doesn't have to be top 5, but he's got to show something like that all these other quarterbacks did. So if they win any less than 5 games and he's fully healthy, Malik, for all 17 games, I'd view that as a failure. But at the end of the day, this is a long run for, the Chicago Bears. They're playing the long game. So I'm really shocked, surprisingly, with how they're surrounding him with talent. But I would be very disappointed, like I said, if they only won 5 to 6 games, if he's, blowing games at the end of, the fourth quarter with terrible interceptions. That's my concern with him. So he doesn't have the leeway that a lot of these other quarterbacks do, to be honest. Like I said, very, very good situation. Offensive line, you can make a question mark, but name me how many other number 1 overall picks step in day one with the talent at wide receiver, at tight end, at running back that Caleb Williams had. I'll wait. Trevor Lawrence, did he step in with that much talent? No. Joe Burrow, did he step in with that much talent? No. Kyler Murray, all these other number 1 overall quarterbacks stepped in to a really rough offense. Caleb Williams is not. So I think, like I said, 5 to 6 wins would be a failure for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears.
So listen, pick 2 is in right now. The Commanders are on the clock. We'll wait for the commissioner to make that pick, although I think we all know who that pick might be. But before we get into that, let's get to some of these Bengals questions. This is supposed to be a sort of like a Bengals stream theme, if you will. We are going to be commenting on the rest of the NFL. Yes, Joe Goodberry will be joining, guys, as well. I know you guys didn't come here for me. You came here for Joe. Joe does a great job, obviously. Remember, this is also simulcasted on the First Star Media Group YouTube channel as well. So make sure you guys subscribe to that, because tomorrow night we'll also be doing a extreme second annual draft party stream, as we'll be breaking down the Bengals picks rounds 2 and 3. And the Bengals have 2 picks in the 3rd round this year. So make sure you guys subscribe to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel to make sure you guys don't miss that. But the commissioners are making a pick right now. So before we even jump into that, Jaden Daniels is the pick.
Really?
Jaden Daniels is the pick at
Good
2.
for him.
I won't clap for that, but I'll say this. No, I'm just being honest. Like I'm telling you, man.
Good for him as a person.
But, good for him. Glad for these guys. These guys are, the difference between you being a top 3, top 5 pick versus being a pick, at 10 or something like that is astronomical. So, Daniel, you covered Jaden Daniels at ASU. You covered him. I know you were somewhat critical of him throughout the process. I know I told you when I watched him initially before he went to the University of Louisiana, or LSU, I apologize. I told you I didn't see this guy as draftable. You told me that you could see him potentially being drafted in the 5th round. He goes to LSU. He does a fantastic job. He, his second year at LSU becomes a Heisman Trophy winner. He looks like a completely different quarterback.
Yes.
I guess the question I want to pose to you, what was the biggest difference you saw from Jaden Daniels at ASU, Daniel, when you covered him? Like, you were literally in that room covering him, asking him questions with Herm, versus what he did at LSU.
I'm going to be honest, Malik. I don't think there was a whole lot different. I really don't. I think, yes, he developed as a passer. He got way better within the pocket. My concerns with Jaden Daniels, when I watched him at Arizona State, not even taking the quarterback he is now, who he was, my biggest concern is in the 4th quarter when the plays broke down, so many times, Malik, he relied on his legs. And I think that's the difference between a guy like Jaden Daniels and a quarterback, even like Caleb Williams. First off, when you go outside of the pocket, I want my quarterback's eyes downfield. Yes, I love his rushing ability. Yes, he ran for 60-yard touchdowns. Yes, he ran for 70-yard touchdowns. At the NFL level, those aren't going to always happen. His rushing style is not conducive to a long-term, success if he's fully relying on it. First off, his body is about 180. He's super slim. So I don't think his rushing style, especially the fact the dude doesn't slide, that's something that definitely needs to change. But I love his mentality. I think he's an absolute gamer. My concern, Malik, is once again, it's 1 read, maybe 2, get out of the pocket. Go watch the Alabama game this year, right? He had an amazing season. His stats are great this year. Against Alabama multiple times, 1 read, 2 read, and it's either let me jolt out of the pocket and eyes are not downfield, I am running the ball, or he stepped right up into pressure and got sacked multiple times. I'm just not a huge fan of him as a top 3 quarterback in the, in this draft class. I think he has the potential to be, but Malik, once again, it's 1 read, 2 read, get out of the pocket. I don't think he worked the ball to the middle of the field well. I don't think, he dealt with pressure well. That's something where you can look at the stats. The stats tell a completely different story. They say he was, 35 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Sure, that's great and all, but show me what happens when he's actually on the field, because what the stats won't tell you is just because he was 35 and had 0 interceptions doesn't mean he didn't take any sacks. Most of the sacks he took was because he was under pressure and he didn't know what to do. He got flustered. So Jaden Daniels has a lot of potential. I'm just really, really concerned about him within the pocket and dealing with the pressure of an NFL defensive line, because that's something he didn't have to deal with at LSU a lot. He got pressured at times, but most of the times relied on Malik Neighbors, could rely on Brian Thomas, and he could rely on his legs. I really think he's going to have some growing to do within the pocket as a passing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Listen, let's talk about what makes Jaden Daniels potentially, a guy that could work in the National Football League. And I do think it's his athletic ability. I do think his ability to extend plays. I do think his ability to run, when the pocket breaks down. The Patriots pick is in, Daniel, your former team. I'm telling you right now, I expect this pick to be Drake Maye. Drake Maye is the guy that I expect this pick to be. I'll tell you, I'm not too interested in the 3rd overall pick. I'm interested in what happens with 4. I was told that the Giants were looking to trade, obviously with the Arizona Cardinals, with the hopes of drafting a JJ McCarthy. I don't believe, I don't know what the I guess the reasoning would be to trade up, because I don't think that the Chargers, I don't think that the Cardinals would take, would take a quarterback. Not unless you're worried about the Minnesota Vikings potentially putting a package together to make that type of trade. But I do expect that, talking about the Patriots pick, I do expect Drake Maye to be the future quarterback of the Patriots. I'll be honest with you, Daniel. I also think he has probably one of the highest ceilings out of any quarterback in this draft class. When I turn on Drake Maye's film, and I know this probably is low-hanging fruit, and it's probably just easy to kind of say this, but I do see Josh Allen. I think that if he lands in a right situation, I think the guy could work. I think the guy could be very successful in the NFL. And you know what? I'm happy for Patriots fans, Daniel, because for a long time, they've taken so long to get to a quarterback like this.
Yes.
They have been stuck in that mode of a pocket passing quarterback of the Tom Brady mold. I really believe in my heart that this is what the Patriots organization needed. They haven't had a quarterback quite like this, man. And I really think that this could work for them, man. It's going to be up to Gerard Mayo and company to make sure that they bring the best out of this guy. But all in all, man, I think that Drake Maye could be a true difference maker for the New England Patriots if he is the pick here, like I'm expecting to be. That's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, let me know whenever they make the pick.
Well, Roger Goodell is announcing the pick right now, and the Patriots select Drake Maye. There it is. Drake Maye is the pick.
Good for them.
Drake Maye is the pick. You started to clap there.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. Good for them.
Okay.
I think it's a difference between where they were in this situation versus when the draft cycle started, because a lot of people were saying, all right, they're going to trade out. At the end of the day, as soon as you get in a new regime, Malik, you understand this, right? Gerard Mayo, their Elliott Wolf, their director of player personnel. You've got one shot at a new start. Mm-hmm. You got one shot. And yes, you can say, well, Drake Maye may be a flawed prospect. There may be other prospects that could be better. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, man, you start your franchise, you start your new rebuild with a quarterback like Drake Maye. There's a lot to work with there. And I think he's of the build of the new age quarterback. So if I'm Gerard Mayo, I'm definitely leaning to, his rushing style. He showed a lot of tape like a Josh Allen of, hey, just running the ball on 3rd and goal, right? 4th and goal. He was used so much at North Carolina as a running back as well. So with them, it's going to be, hey, very similar to what the Commanders should do with Cliff Kingsbury in the offense. You've got to play to the strengths of your quarterback. And with the Drake Maye, I'm a little concerned about the weapons there. And I'm really kind of concerned about how he's going to perform day one. So I'm very curious to see what the Patriots end up doing, because their roster isn't very good right now, to put it bluntly.
No.
You look at their weapons on offense, decent tight ends, wide receivers are decent, but none of them are game changing. And the offensive line definitely needs a lot of work. So Drake Maye, if I'm him, I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest, Malik, if they don't start Drake Maye week 1. I don't know if I would, to be honest. I think Jacoby Brissett's had serious success there. He's had serious success at the NFL level. If I'm the New England Patriots, I'm starting Jacoby Brissett for the first 4, 6 to 8 weeks of the season, then letting Drake Maye get some experience and letting Drake Maye come in at the end of the season. If he can give me 6 to 8 games of promise and, hey, just getting your feet wet, Next offseason, you're going to see they're currently number 1 in total cap space for next season. Next year's the year you splurge. Next year's the year you go out and get a star wide receiver in a trade. Next year's the year that you go out and build that offensive line in the draft. So if I'm the Patriots, I'm happy. You got your franchise quarterback. You have your bridge quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. Next year's the year that you're going to really go all in. And let me just say this, Malik, I'm going to be taking their under in win totals. I don't expect them to win a lot of games, to be honest. So,
but it'd be a good culture reset, I'd say.
Yes.
Let me ask you another question, Daniel. Obviously, with the 4th pick coming up, the Arizona Cardinals, let's play the game that they do stay on the clock, and the Giants won't trade up, obviously, in that spot, because I don't see a reason for the Giants to truly trade up.
Yep.
Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Is the gap between these guys massive? Is the gap, or do you think it's much closer than what people are giving it credit? Who is your number 1 wide receiver? Because I feel like throughout this entire process, we haven't paid too much attention to the wide receivers. Of course, we watch, but we really haven't given too much commentary on it, obviously, because the Bengals aren't in a position to, where we think they would take a wide receiver, unless obviously an amazing one obviously slides all the way to 18. But where do you see them? Like, who is your favorite receiver in this class out of Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., and what do you think truly separates them?
I love Malik Neighbors, and this may be a hot take. I think Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison will all be top 15 wide receivers within the next 3 years. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I think they'll end up going Marvin Harrison Jr. because, you got some speedy wide receivers there like Greg Dortch. Marvin Harrison Jr. is extremely consistent. He is going to give you the length. He's going to give you the size.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, Malik, I want an explosive game changer. Marvin Harrison is a game changer, 1,000%. But the after catch ability, the after, quick screen game, Malik Neighbors just offers another level to it. He is extremely explosive.
The pick is in, by the way.
The pick is in.
They aren't announcing it just yet, but the pick is in. And it doesn't seem like the Giants, obviously the Giants apparently were trying to trade up there. It doesn't seem like they were obviously successful in that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and see who they do pick. I do expect it to be Marvin Harrison Jr. here, but we'll see. But continue what you were saying.
No, completely. I think that I'm a huge Malik Neighbors fan, man. Once again, I'm looking at explosive plays. I'm looking at, hey, who's the guy that I can truly game plan around? Who's the guy that I can incorporate, in the screen game, in the deep game? Malik Neighbors is one of the most explosive receivers I've ever scouted.
Yeah.
You look at him, he's similar, the similar mold of a Garrett Wilson, of Jamar Chase. In my opinion, I want explosive plays. Marvin Harrison Jr. can give me that, but I think Malik Neighbors has an extra gear there. I think Malik Neighbors, if I was running a franchise, I would have a serious conversation. Hey, Malik Neighbors is great hands, great athleticism, great size. Maybe not the size of Marvin Harrison Jr., but great after the catch ability. If it were me, I'd be looking and saying, hey, run the card and give me Malik Neighbors.
No, I hear you on that one. So it seems like the commissioner is walking up to the podium with the pick. I would say that Marvin Harrison Jr. was probably one of the more polarizing figures, right, in this draft class. He's a guy that, apparently Adam Schefter puts out a tweet, says, hey, he hasn't even signed his NFLPA license agreement. So there's no, they can't even sell his jersey, or he's not even in Madden right now as it currently stands, right? Because, the pick, Marvin Harrison Jr. is in.
There you go.
He drafts Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think this is a good pick for them. I really believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver in this class, man. I think he's a game changer. I think he's an absolute monster. A lot of people I feel like throughout this entire process, people tried to kind of tear him down. And I didn't understand why they were trying to tear him down. I don't know if it's because his dad is Marvin Harrison, and people were trying to say he was getting more hype. But if you just turn on the film and you watch him, man, the guy is just an absolute stud, difference maker, man. And it makes all the sense in the world. Guys, we're getting to the point in the draft where some of these picks are kind of flying off the board. Quarterbacks have fallen. I look at it and I say, the Los Angeles Chargers are the first real spot where we're asking ourselves, what do they do?
Yep.
Is it Malik Neighbors here? Is it J.C. Latham? Right? That's been a lot. But that's where a lot of the talk has been. Is it J.C. Latham? Is it Malik Neighbors? Man. I've got to believe it's Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
I've got to believe it's Malik Neighbors. If I had to predict the next two picks, Malik Neighbors, J.J. McCarthy. If I had to pick the next two picks, Malik Neighbors, J.J. McCarthy. And if it is J.J. McCarthy, the Giants, we have to have a discussion because we need to talk about where, where this all fits. We've got to talk about that because if JJ McCarthy is a Giant, we need to talk and have the conversation of is Daniel Jones, is it that much of a difference from Daniel Jones? And where does Daniel Jones fit? Who is the starter for the Giants to open up the season? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, man. But the Los Angeles Chargers pick I feel like this is the first real interesting pick of the draft that could in some way, shape, or form affect the Bengals if they don't take a wide receiver here.
So looking at the Chargers, Malik, this is you got 3 guys on the board in my opinion. You got Joe Alt.
Yeah.
Who a lot of people are discussing, right, is that's a Harbaugh pick, right? Offensive line, and definitely could be. If I'm the Chargers, I'm looking to trade back. If I'm looking for offensive tackle, I am looking to trade back. If I'm in the front office, once again, you have a window with your young quarterback in Justin Herbert. Yes, build the offensive line. I understand that. Joe Alt would do wonders for the offensive line. Justin Herbert is ready to win now. Give me a number 1 wide receiver. Malik Neighbors, I think, truly does that. If it's Rome Odunze, I would not hate it. I think Rome Odunze can be more similar to a Keenan Allen, right? He's very smooth, a great route runner. The best way I can put it, he's just a smooth receiver, plucks the ball out of the air, great hands. But at the end of the day, Malik, give me a star quarterback like Justin Herbert. Give him an explosive receiver like Malik Neighbors. I think you can scheme a lot of things up. And also, look at the GM. Their GM was a former director of player personnel with the Ravens. What did the Ravens tend to do a lot in the draft? Not necessarily was him, but they drafted Zay Jones. They drafted Rashad Bateman. They drafted, I believe, Brashad Perryman. They drafted a ton of wide receivers early in the draft. So if I'm looking at the Chargers pick, I really find it hard to pass up a potential franchise-changing wide receiver, a dude who can get you 1,300 yards in an instant. You lost Keenan Allen. You lost Mike Williams. Give me Malik Neighbors as my franchise-changing wide receiver. Pair him up with Justin Herbert, and I guarantee you guys he goes for at least 1,200 yards this year.
You're really, really high on Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. But at the same time, if they go Joe Alt, you can't be mad at going the trenches because you have a Slater and Joe Alt.
Man, listen, I think that this is a spot in which the Chargers obviously need to replace Keenan Allen. I don't think the receiver they drafted last year, his name is
Johnson.
Quentin. I didn't really show much.
No.
And I don't know why. Maybe it's the offensive scheme. Obviously, they fired their coach, new regime in there with Harbaugh, who I'm really, really excited for, honestly, because he's one of my favorite coaches in the league. I'm just curious to see how it all shakes out, man. I wonder, can they get more consistency out of Quentin Johnson? And it's going to be interesting, man. But again, I'm eyeing that Giants pick, man, because it's going to be weird in New York if they do what people are expecting them to do, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really think that this could be very interesting. They're using this time, and they're got 3 minutes, 34 seconds left before
I would not be surprised if they're working the clocks right now, Malik, to be honest.
Really? Why is that?
I think, once again, I'm looking at, if you're talking about offensive line, some people are saying JC.
The Chargers are picking. They are not trading, apparently, to
Right.
Rapport. So the Giants' patience apparently did pay off, and it seems like they might be getting their guy. So we'll see what happens. But finish what you were saying.
No, yeah. If you're the Chargers, it's Alt or Neighbors. You really can't go wrong. You get a franchise offense tackle. Once again, if I'm in the front office, man, I'm looking at the weapons I got. Once again, Quentin Johnson has potential, but they didn't draft him. You're heading in with the new regime. Joe Alt, you can't be mad at the pick. You get a franchise offense tackle, but Malik Neighbors, I think the difference between him and a round 2, I don't even know if they have a round 3 pick, so they're very low on draft picks. You got to make these count. Curious to see how I think that they go Malik Neighbors. I think they should. I don't know. They probably will go Joe Alt. That's a Harbaugh pick, but I really think Joe Ortiz, their GM, he loves drafting wide receivers and seeing one of these star wide receivers.
Well, listen, while we're waiting for this damn Chargers pick to come in, Marissa, let's get to some Bengals questions. Guys, drop in the comment section some Bengals questions. We'll answer them. I see there's a lot of people unhappy with Trey Hendrickson in the comment section. Daniel, I want to hear your commentary on the Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade or his agent requesting a trade thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal as people are making it out to be, because honestly, the Bengals control the narrative here. They control obviously what happens in the situation. I don't foresee them trading their all-pro pass rusher and a guy like Trey Hendrickson. To me, it's one of those weird situations where you don't know what was said at the negotiating table. You don't know necessarily why they are now coming out saying, hey, they want to trade, whatever the case may be. But I just think a lot of people are down on Trey Hendrickson, and I wouldn't be, man. This is a guy that has given us everything, has given the Cincinnati Bengals everything. He's one of the better pass rushers in the league, and honestly underrated at this point, and doesn't get enough love, honestly. But let's talk about it, Daniel.
So the Bengals, first off, are they going to trade him? Most likely not.
Mhm.
T. Higgins, they trade T. Higgins. No. Carson Palmer, they trade Carson Palmer. No. Trey Hendrickson, this is all leverage, and you guys obviously, I'm sure, understand this.
Wow.
Hold on. Is it official?
Yeah, I'm seeing that the Chargers
Rome?
taking Joe Alt.
Okay.
Joe
Okay.
Alt. That's shocking. That
Yeah.
no, that is shocking,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually verified just yet. Let me just see something. Continue though.
No, yeah. So going back to the Trey Hendrickson thing, first off, if you lose Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals pass rush, it's not looking pretty, to be completely honest with you guys. So number one, if we're talking about winning a Super Bowl this year, Trey Hendrickson makes the Bengals better this year. If they didn't trade T. Higgins, they're not going to want to trade Trey Hendrickson. They know how valuable he is. And once again, for this to come out on the eve of the draft shows that the agent and Trey Hendrickson know this is all leverage play. They want a longer contract, and they understand there's a potential the Bengals could draft an edge, which means Trey Hendrickson's future of 3 years down the road may not be, necessarily locked in with the Bengals. So this is all leverage play by Trey Hendrickson and his team. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Once again, the Bengals defense is 5 times better with Trey Hendrickson on the field. 1,000%. If we're talking about winning the Super Bowl this year, Trey Hendrickson needs to be on the field. He's too good of a pass rusher, but that also doesn't stop you from drafting an edge in round 1 or round 2.
Man, let's talk about this though for a second,
Yep.
man. Let's talk about this for a second. With this Joe Alt obviously being the pick for the Chargers, do the Giants go JJ McCarthy? And does Malik Neighbors fall to the Tennessee Titans and Brian Callahan get his guy for Tennessee in the future? They already got Ridley locked up.
Yeah.
But this could play right into the hands of the Tennessee Titans and Brian Callahan. He might get an all-star receiver that he might be looking for. Now, the one question that I do ask though is, if you draft JJ McCarthy in the New York Football Giants, who the hell is he throwing to? Because I'm not impressed with the Giants receiving core. But if you like JJ McCarthy that much and you think he could be the difference maker between you and, take this roster taking the next step, then you do it, right? But when I watch JJ McCarthy as successful of a college career as he's had, I don't know if I see him fitting necessarily the mold of what's his face, Brian Dable.
Yep.
And can you talk to me about that, Danny? Like, I know we've been kind of talking about this literally all day today about the fit for Brian Dable's offense and JJ McCarthy. Can you talk about that?
Malik, I don't understand this. I would not go JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy could be a very good quarterback. I think he will be a very good quarterback at the NFL level. There was, I had kind of a wild take where I looked at like the New York Jets, obviously looking at Brock Bowers. But if I was the New York Jets, also like there's a scenario where I'm looking, if I'm building towards the future, I'd be looking to take JJ McCarthy, let him sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year or two. It makes no sense for him to go to the New York Giants. First off, in my opinion, Brian Dable's been there for 2 years. So you're going to expect Brian Dable, in his position, hey, how do we know he's got 2 more years locked up of 2 bad seasons? You look at the roster, let's just talk about it. Devin Singletary is their running back 1. When has he ever been a productive running back 1 on a football team? Eric Gray is their running back 2. So no Saquon Barkley. I look at the receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson, very good gadget guy. Jalen Hyatt is a guy who's going to get 5 receptions a game. Darius Slayton, Darren Waller. We don't know what we're going to get with Darren Waller. You look at the offensive line, you got 2 very, good tackles. But at the end of the day, what does JJ McCarthy bring to this Giants? He is not a game-changing quarterback, Malik. He's not. JJ McCarthy is a guy, he is a gamer. He will go out and win games, but he needs a supporting cast around him. If JJ McCarthy, Malik, gets drafted to the Giants, I think they win less than 4 games this season. And that's what my concern is with the Giants. If it's a Drake Maye, if it's a Jaden Daniels who loves to create plays outside of the structure, it's a different conversation. Brian Daboll's had success with Josh Allen. He's had success with Daniel Jones at times.
Wait, did you say rapper Darren Waller?
What?
Did you say rapper Darren Waller?
No.
Oh, God, I see that in the comment section. I'm like, oh man, did Daniel say rapper Darren Waller?
No.
Man, that would be crazy. That would be great.
But man, it just doesn't make sense for me. I think JJ McCarthy would really struggle this year with the situation. I think Jaden Daniels would struggle with that situation. I think Drake Maye would. If you bring JJ McCarthy into that organization, you are setting him up for failure right now. And that's what my concern is, because Brian Daboll, like you said, he's not a rookie head coach. This is going to be his third year at the NFL. And if you go and draft JJ McCarthy, yes, you do need a new quarterback. Daniel Jones is not it. But are we going to wait 2 years for a guy like JJ McCarthy, who's a young quarterback who still has a lot to go to
the
develop?
Giants
Better not be
take Malik
JJ.
Neighbors.
Good pick.
The Giants take Malik Neighbors. The Giants took Malik Neighbors. Neighbors is the Giants pick. And wow, yeah,
JJ fallen.
JJ fallen, man.
Yeah.
JJ is fallen. And should JJ have gone before Malik Neighbors? Absolutely not, right? But that does make you wonder, where does JJ fall? I'll tell you, there's a team I'm looking at, man. There's a team that I'm looking at.
We're already
man,
at 7. Wow.
We're at 7 now, man. We're at 7 now.
All right,
And
okay.
who's the pick right here?
This is tough.
Who's the pick right here? Like, now we're getting to the interesting part of the draft.
See,
right?
the Titans got screwed.
Yeah.
The Titans got screwed here because your wide receiver one's not here and your offensive tackle one's not here. The Titans got screwed. If you're here, Malik, like looking at the board, this is the worst case scenario for them. Rome Odunze's still here. I wouldn't go Rome Odunze because you got Calvin Ridley on a team. Now it sucks though, because once again, I'm not a huge fan of JC Latham. As a top 10 pick, I think JC Latham will be a very productive NFL offensive tackle. Am I personally taking him as a top 7 pick? I don't think he's worth this. If I'm the Titans, I'm looking to trade back and get assets. I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm calling them up, or I'm waiting for Kevin Stefanski. And yeah.
What if
Yeah.
the Titans take Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
throughout this entire
Yeah.
process,
Yeah.
generational. What if they take him here?
Yeah.
Rome is a interesting one here too. But what if Brock Bowers? Right now,
Yes.
the Titans have a hole at the tight end spot. I understand Chigoziem is their starting tight end, but from me betting on the guy a couple times this year, I was not impressed. Man, yeah, I don't know.
So it's tough. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a sexy pick. And if you're Brian Callahan, this is a hard conversation, but the way that they've gone about free agency, the way they've gone about this offense, this offseason, they've went with the sexy picks. They've went with Tony Pollard, I think was an overpay. They went with Calvin Ridley, I think was an overpay. If they're going about this, why the hell not would you go and add a Brock Bowers? I really do think, to be honest, though, the offensive line would struggle. I think Will Levis would struggle behind the offensive line. But if you're telling me I have an offense year one for Brian Callahan, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Treylon Burks, and Brock Bowers?
Man, if JJ McCarthy makes it past Tennessee, I will say this: our guy Woody from First Star, man, he might get his guy. He might get his guy JJ McCarthy.
That's a great pick. That would
He
be
might
a great
get him.
pick for them.
They might get him because he is a Minnesota Vikings fan and a Michigan fan, so he might get that. He might be happy. I know he'd be celebrating, popping champagne.
Let me just say this though: if I am the Raiders and the Vikings, I'm calling up Atlanta right now, and I'm saying, hey, I want your pick number 8, because I don't know if these other teams like the Raiders and Minnesota, are you going to just hope that JJ McCarthy falls to you? I think JJ McCarthy is a great fit for the Vikings, but if I'm in the front office and I'm looking at him as my franchise quarterback, I'm not waiting. I'm not. So I'd be calling up Atlanta. I think Atlanta would potentially trade back 3 spots after this pick.
Man, but believe it or not, let me just touch on this for a second. The Giants taking Malik Neighbors here is once again a nod to Daniel Jones saying, hey, we are going to try to believe in you again. Will it work in their favor? I have no idea, but this is a nod to them saying, hey, we're going to give you another opportunity to prove that you could be our guy. Again, I'm really interested to see what the Tennessee Titans do here, man. I'm interested what the Tennessee Titans do here because I think that Brock Bowers makes a lot of sense for the Tennessee Titans. And I know the Brock Bowers truthers would be upset, but I think it just makes sense. Not unless they'd say, hey, we're going to go quarterback, which I'd be shocked about, right? Wouldn't you? What? You wouldn't be shocked?
Hold on. Let's have this conversation.
Sure.
Will Levis wasn't drafted. He wasn't drafted by their GM. I believe their GM is a first-year GM. If you're the
right.
Tennessee Titans, I don't know. It's a conversation.
Did Will Levis show enough?
I think he did. I think he did. But hold on. Don't tell
me.
The
Titans do it. Yes.
Brock,
they select J.C. Latham. They took J.C. Latham.
Brother,
the Titans take J.C. Latham. Man, you gotta be happy about that, man. You gotta be happy about it. If you're me, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it.
As a Bengals fan,
I'm happy. I'm happy about it. That's one of the first ones that really affect the Bengals. J.C. Latham is off the board. J.C. Latham is off the board. You know, and I've told people, me being a Alabama Crimson Tide fan, I watched a lot of this guy, and I wasn't in love with him. We did a great breakdown when we had a conversation with Parker Blake, man, and I was like, man, I did not want him. And people think, oh, you're just an Alabama guy, so you're just gonna always go. I'm just like, guys, I promise you, man, the lack of consistency is something that will make Bengals fans pull their hair out. So all in all, you gotta just tip your hat to the big. But again, everything is still on the board the way it is.
This is a fun one, and I think the most fun, and once again, something that I personally love doing. I'm going to be writing notes down. I love looking at what was the theme before the draft and after. Pretty much every mock draft that we've done, that on PFF that everybody's done has JJ going by now. And that's the cool part about the draft. It's clear that he was push-up boards, and there was obviously real talks about him. But the Tennessee Titans, I'm a little questionable. It fits a need. Is that best player available? I don't think so, Malik. So for the Tennessee Titans, they got their guy. Let's see how it works out. It's a need, but for the Bengals, I'm definitely, I'm happy that J.C. Latham would have been a fine offense tackle. He potentially could have been a good offense tackle. But the fact he's off the board, 11 picks before the Bengals. All right, let's switch the conversation. No more J.C. Latham. The Falcons at 8, bold prediction right off the bat, Malik. I think I'm very confident that they go defensive line. My bold take, I think they go Laitu Latu. I think that's my bold take.
Not Dallas Turner.
No.
Why?
By far and away, he is the guy with the most flash. And I think the Atlanta Falcons, the way they've drafted many times, with this regime, Terry Fontenot, Kyle Pitts flash, Drake London flash, Bijan Robinson flash. His former head coach at Washington is their defense coordinator right now, Jimmy Lake. I think Atlanta Falcons, I think it's a perfect spot. You got the connection to Laitu Latu. It fits a need at edge rusher out opposite of Arnold Adebike from last year. They drafted him in the second round. If I'm the Falcons, I'm looking to compete now, and I need to get a pass rush now. There's conversation that they could go into your defense line and Byron Murphy. I'm very confident this pick is an edge rusher. If I were to make a prediction, I think it's Laitu Latu. But once again, this goes to what we were discussing before. I really think, and this for the Bengals fans, once again, guys, drop a comment down below, your thoughts so far on the draft. This kind of reaffirms what I was thinking. I think one of these edge rushers is going to be there for the Cincinnati Bengals, whether it's a Latu or Dallas Turner. So
for sure. And guys, I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil the pick for anybody. I apologize. I have people saying my TV is slow, yada yada yada. They like to drag this stuff out, obviously, and it's all for the excitement, I guess, effect. And they want to make sure they can reel in as many views as possible. Yep. But
it feels like this is going fast, to be honest. Maybe it's because we're streaming. But to be honest with you, it feels like
it's a little bit of that. I just say, man, J.C. Latham is the first domino to fall, man. Where you're like, all right, man, what's gonna happen here? So you do wonder what else could you expect the Falcons to do here?
Yeah, man, I really think that they're gonna go edge. I'm looking at this once again, the way that this is fallen. I really think that the Minnesota Vikings will end up with JJ McCarthy. But once again, if I'm the Raiders,
let me just ask that. Is everybody okay with me giving picks if I get them? Is everybody okay with that in the comment section? Because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. If we want to go as the TV stream goes, we have the stream popped up obviously here. We Joe's going to be joining us right around the Bengals pick. So I just want to make sure I don't want to I just want to make sure I'm not ruining the draft for anybody, and I apologize if I am, because I love you guys.
Maybe, I can't tell what they're saying. Give them. I can't tell. Somebody's saying don't spoil it. Some are saying give them.
Most people are saying give picks.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure I'm not trying to be a party pooper at all.
I think, they're saying yes. No, please be consistent. I'll probably say yeah. I'd probably say yeah. Maybe what you can do is, do you, Malik.
All right. Okay. I'll pick my spots.
Yeah.
I'll pick my spots. How about that, guys?
Maybe for the Bengals.
Is that for the Bengals one? I won't spoil it. I'll just go like, I'll just do that. But man, what? So let's talk more about. I mean, the Titans haven't even announced their pick yet.
Okay.
So like the Titans haven't even announced their pick yet. So like this is
okay.
This is crazy.
So Atlanta Falcons once again. I mean, just let's go ahead and let's just look at this board for a second, guys. The way that this is falling once again, JJ McCarthy, I still believe will be picked before 18. Right now, you got the offense tackles, pretty much all of them. I mean, so Joe Alt's gone. I guess JC Latham's gone. If I were to make prediction, I think the next offense tackle probably could be Fuaga at 10. Brock Bowers still on the board, so I think the Saints, I'm very confident will pick an offensive tackle. I think we'll see 2 to 3 offensive tackles. So maybe it's a Mims, Olu, and Fuaga. And then maybe you're left there with like a Barton, right? And at that point, the way it's shaping up so far, we got to see the Bears pick is where it's really going to be the defensive tackle. But if Byron Murphy doesn't go to the Bears, then you're discussing at the Bengals pick. You got Byron Murphy. I'm very confident Jerzon Newton will be there. So with the way it's shaping up, I'm very confident. I think, the Falcons will end up going with
guys. This is the interesting part of the draft to me. 8, 9, and 10 can really determine the trajectory. And yes, I agree with people in the comment section. The run on tackles is starting to happen, right?
Yes.
Where we've seen Alt go, we've seen Latham go. You just wonder where some of these teams start to really start grabbing their guys, man.
Yeah. And once again, I'm looking at this and just the way, I hate to say it, man. The Jets are really going to be the game changer in this, Malik.
Yeah.
Whether it's Fuaga or Bowers, that's going to change a lot. Because if they go Bowers, then we're discussing, all right, then you're going to see one of the tackles, I believe, fall to the Bengals. If they go Fuaga, then we're discussing, all right, where's the spot for Brock Bowers? Is a team gonna trade up for Brock Bowers? The Indianapolis Colts, that's probably gonna be the next possible situation for Brock Bowers. Wow. What you got? I'm very curious to see. Okay. All right. I'm trying to read your expression.
The Falcons did not go offensive lineman. The Falcons did not go defensive lineman.
Corner. Okay, I'm not.
No,
I'm making...
the Falcons went.
Okay. Whoa. Let's play the guessing game. All right, hold on, folks. Guessing game. No O-line, no D-line.
Quarterback.
Bull.
Quarterback.
Bull.
Quarterback. Michael Penix Jr.
Bull.
Michael Penix Jr.
Bull crap.
Yeah.
No shot.
Yeah. What in the hell? We did not expect this.
What?
This is mayhem. This is crazy.
So, all right, let's wow. Michael Penix Jr.
Michael Penix Jr.
So, Falcons, hold on. Let's have this conversation. Props.
Wait. What?
No,
this is crazy.
No, yes. Let me just say this. Raheem Morris and who's the new OC? Raheem Morris and
is it Zach Robinson?
Zach Robinson. I promise you guys, they must have stood on the table and loved what they saw.
Yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Marissa, let's get your commentary. I know you're kind of quiet over there and you guys can't see her, But what? This is so good for the Bengals.
This is great for the Bengals.
This is great for the Bengals. Quarterbacks are just falling. What the hell? Michael Penix Jr. 8? What? No mock draft we did had this. No mock draft. This is crazy, man. 8? This is crazy. Yo, you would have asked me this a million times. I would have said no. I would have said no. And one of the props I put up today on the TWSN Patreon was Michael Penix Jr. because I was told that he could go at the back end of the first round. But at 8? Damn. I know Seattle Seahawks fans are kicking themselves right now because a large contingency of Seattle fans I talked to. Wait, so what was the point of Kirk Cousins?
This is a future play. This is
but you signed Kirk Cousins for 4 years. What was the point?
Yeah. Malik.
Terry Fontenot, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't understand this. Yeah. I don't get this. If it's a 4-year, maybe there's something we don't know about his injury. But why would you sign him then? Why the hell would you sign Kirk Cousins if you're going to go and get a Michael Penix Jr.? I don't understand it.
Bro, what is going on?
This is something where Michael Penix Jr. is an older quarterback. What the hell? Let me just. I don't know what the plan is. I'm a huge believer in Raheem Morris. I'm a huge believer in Zach Robinson. I think they're two of the greatest young minds in the NFL right now. But I just don't understand this. Michael Penix Jr., he's 20. He's going to be 24 years old. By the time he steps on the field, if Kirk Cousins is, if Kirk Cousins plays 1 to 2 years, Michael Penix Jr. is going to be 26 years old, Malik. He's going to be 26 years old by the time he takes his first snap if Kirk Cousins plays 2 years. I don't understand this. This is, if I were to make a prediction, I think there's something up with Kirk Cousins. Whether he's going to retire. And this is
what?
Yeah, whether it's in his injury, isn't he dealing with an injury coming off an Achilles?
Bro, like,
yeah.
What? Like, this is mayhem. This is my genuine reaction, guys. I'm genuinely shocked. I'm happy
for the
Bengals, but I'm shocked. Nobody had that happening.
Yep.
Nobody.
What
the fuck?
I don't think Kirk Cousins is long there then. And I think he'll get
Bro, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Marissa, what's your thoughts on it? Marissa, just so y'all know, she never curses. She's an angel. She never curses. She's an angel. She literally just said, what the beep? That's what she just did. I'm shocked. I'm flabbergasted. But I love it. Like, guys, what's up? Like, are y'all just as shocked as me?
I am.
This is crazy.
I am, but at the same time,
I said I am shocked. I'm flabbergasted. Like,
let me just say that. Or Marissa, yeah, give us your thoughts, Marissa.
Well, no, I was shocked by it because I thought the Falcons would go Penix more like later in the draft. I thought that he would be a good fit because I do see a lot of similarities between Penix and Kirk Cousins' game. So earlier, like in the draft process, I thought, maybe they go him like maybe in the second round or trade up. But to take him at 8, that's a reach in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man.
We got a guy, Lucky Luciano, in the chat. He said he just got out of dinner. we got, man. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, if I were to make this try to be logical about this, let me be in Terry Fontenot's shoes. They don't believe Kirk Cousins is long for this. Kirk Cousins will not be starting for more than 2 years. So they signed him to a 4-year deal. Maybe they regretted it, Malik. Maybe they did. If I were to make a prediction, I think that Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson are massive fans of Michael Penix Jr. In a nutshell, Michael Penix Jr. learning from Kirk Cousins is great. 1,000%. Him taking a year to learn from Kirk Cousins, having the weapons of Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. But why would you sign Kirk Cousins? Why? And I think that's what it comes down to. If I'm them, if I'm trying to make it smart, number 9.
Your boy.
Latu. Hold on.
Your boy.
My boy.
Mm-hmm.
Chop?
No, the guy you kept telling, you literally keep mentioning him. You mentioned him several times.
Rome. Oh, maybe it's Rome. Maybe it's not. It might be Chop, but or it might be Dallas Turner. But all right, I got you. Wow. I just can't look. I mean, just stick on this Falcons thing real quick, Malik. They are on the clock, as in, hey, you're on now. You guys got to figure it out now. What the hell is the plan? And they obviously understood. Listen, from their perspective, they know they're going to get a ton of flack from this. They know the fan base is going to be rabid. They know social media is going to be rabid. The only logical explanation is they don't believe Kirk Cousins is long for this. I'm sure that they've got some sort of out after 1 to 2 years with Kirk Cousins, and you have Michael Penix Jr. learn behind him. Because at the end of the day, guys, I'm telling you, Michael Penix Jr., in a nutshell, is falling into the best possible situation. You have an offensive mastermind in Zach Robinson. You have elite weapons in Bijan Robinson, in Drake London, in Kyle Pitts, in Darnell Mooney. Michael Penix Jr. is the happiest guy on earth right now. And I would be too if I were Michael Penix Jr. If I'm the Falcons, yeah, I don't know why you signed Kirk Cousins. I would have much rather give me Jacoby Brissett. Give me Jacoby Brissett for a year if the plan was to draft Michael Penix Jr. Because there is no shot in hell that Atlanta Falcons in free agency were saying, hey, we're not gonna. I guarantee you guys, they at least thought about the fact that they were going to take a Michael Penix Jr., a JJ McCarthy.
Does anybody know what the reaction of Falcons fans on Twitter is right now? I'm really curious. I'm really curious what
yeah, let me check.
Yeah, man. That's pretty crazy. What?
Trade.
Oh yeah.
Vikings. Adam Schefter reported it, so everybody will see this. Vikings and the Jets trade. So I think we pretty much know where the Vikings are going to go with this pick. With the 10th pick. But they moved up 2 spots?
1 spot.
1? Interesting.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Atlanta, yeah, people are saying that Atlanta, Falcons fans are going crazy on Twitter right now.
Like upset?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know, man. Like you said, it makes sense for Michael Penix Jr.
I wonder what they're giving up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to move up 1 spot.
Does that look right? Does that sound right? That's different.
There's a meme right now. It's pretty funny. You know, the Drewski, the meme, Michael Penix Jr. Seeing the Falcons drafted him. So, okay, yeah. Like we talked about, if the Vikings were to move up, they're scared that somebody would jump them. Because they know they want their guy.
Yeah.
And the Jets, at the end of the day, very smart move by the Jets to move back because you're moving back a spot. You know that they're not going to take your guy. They'll probably end up taking a QB. Wow. QBs.
Yeah.
This is very good for the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm shocked, man. I'm shocked. I know somebody said shut up, Malik, in the comment section. So
it's not nice.
They said you're getting tired of me, Daniel, and I'm talking too much.
They said that about me. I mean, I'm not sure that that's me in the chat. Maybe that's my burner. But I don't know how I'd be typing that at the same time.
Daniel's
They
burner.
said, whoa, the trade was, so they gave up 11, 129, and 157 for 10 and 203. So basically they got an extra 4th round pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you're the Jets,
all in all, the Jets probably are already zeroed in who they wanted.
So yeah, we got Darren Rocco said, no way the Bengals trade up a few more shocks, and the 1,000%. The Bengals, this is the best way it could have fell for you. First off, no edge rushers off the board, Malik. There might be 2 of them. There might be Latu and Verse. Byron Murphy potentially could be there. Jerzon Newton potentially could be there. You could have a Fuaga there. Yeah, man. We'll see once we get there, man. I'm gonna hold my horses.
I wonder if our guy Woody is going to be celebrating tonight.
He 1,000%.
I wonder if our guy's Woody is going to be celebrating tonight with a moment or two. If this pick gets made here soon by the Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, man, I would be if I'm the Minnesota Vikings.
The pick is in. but not
Wait,
running
so
to there.
okay, so officially Rome Odunze was or is Rome off the clock?
Yeah, he's officially a Bear.
All right. Real quick talk about that. They didn't take Byron Murphy.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Chicago Bears, they once again, real quick, they are surrounding Caleb Williams with talent. Very good job for them.
Mhm.
Rome, DJ, and Keenan Allen. I'm expecting big things from Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
No defensive guys off the board yet.
Yeah, man. This is man. Man, this is crazy. This is crazy. So
Hey, this is what we live for, right?
Yeah, man. This is wild. People said majority of the people want our picks.
We are watching you
They
guys.
want us to announce the picks as they come in because they're not watching the live stream. We appreciate you guys too much. If you guys could do us a huge favor, give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate you guys so much for watching this live stream with us. We are going to be live throughout the entire first round. Joe Goodberry is going to be joining us shortly, along with Glenn Goodberry. I'm actually excited for the Bills pick for him.
Yep.
I really am. Glenn's my guy. He's one of my favorite people. But yeah, man, this draft so far has been pretty nuts, I'd say. Pretty nuts, I'd say, man. 100% Daniel Panetti. I got you, man. We'll definitely make that happen, man. But, man.
Good for the Vikings, first off,
Yeah.
for trading.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the pick's not in yet, or might be, but good for them for trading up. This is wild. This is wild. Chicago Bears, once again, I think Rome Odunze, let me just say this. I think he'll be a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
The
pick is in. The Minnesota Vikings, they take JJ McCarthy. That's who they take. They get their guy. Congrats, Woody. Congrats, Woody.
Yep.
Congrats, Woody. This is what we talked about, man. I'm happy for you, man. He was pumped up about getting his guy potentially, man. So, yeah, man. JJ McCarthy is a Minnesota Viking. They get their quarterback. Let me ask you a question, though, for a second.
Yep.
What do you think, for instance, do you think Justin Jefferson will be happy about this? Because remember, a big part of his whole thing was he wanted to make sure that who he before he signed that the quarterback position for Minnesota was figured out.
Jefferson's out of there. Maybe not this year.
You think so?
Maybe not next year, or maybe not this year. But he will not sign another contract with them.
Yeah.
And once again, that's not from any insider knowledge. Let me just say that that's from my opinion.
Daniel, the insider.
Let me just say this. I mean, I'm looking at their depth chart, Malik. Sam Darnold is your quarterback and JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy can step in, yes, and be an okay quarterback year one. He's not going to have a CJ Stroud season. He's not going to have a Joe Burrow season. He's not going to have a Caleb Williams season. He doesn't have, he's got talent around him. Let me just say that. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I'm playing for the future. I would be definitely looking to trade Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
I would be. If Justin Jefferson is happy, keep him. Sign him to that max contract. But I don't think that Justin Jefferson is going to want to go about this with a rookie quarterback. But Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson.
You're gonna have to excuse me.
Yep.
We're gonna be live throughout this entire round one.
Yep.
You take the floor. I gotta go to the men's room for a second.
You're good.
Give me a damn second.
No, you're good. You're good. So let's just, so everybody, if you guys are watching this, obviously we got a lot of Bengals fans watching. Drop down your questions and your thoughts so far pertaining to the Bengals, right? Because we want to talk about how this affects the Bengals. Let me just run through some of these. Vikings aren't done. Our logo is going to turn into a Vikings logo. The Jets, the Bowers. So let's talk about Jets and the Jets pick. It's, in my opinion, it's either Brock Bowers or Fuaga. And I really think that you can't go wrong with either one of them. If you're going with Fuaga, you're playing for the future. You're saying, hey, I'm building the offensive line. I am projecting towards even after a guy like Aaron Rodgers is off of my roster. Because at the end of the day, you have to win in the trenches. Brock Bowers could go here, and I wouldn't be shocked because this is something, if you're the Jets and if you're going all in, then let's go ahead and go all in right now. You don't have a tight end on the roster who's really worthy of being started. Let's go and just go all in right now with Brock Bowers. That's how I'm viewing this, to be honest. I really think with the Jets, it's going to be Brock Bowers or Talis Fuaga. If your Huday MD said, would you trade a pick to Broncos for Patrick Surtain? What round would you get him? are you saying if you're the Bengals? If I'm the Bengals, I would be and Patrick Surtain. What is that? I'm not sure if that's what do you think, Chris? He's saying, would you trade a pick to Broncos for Patrick Surtain? I comment it down again. Let me know what your actual question is. I'm just not sure I'm understanding that. Appreciate every single person tuning in. All we ask, guys, click the like button. Murphy could follow us. Listen, if you guys are Bengals fans, let me just say that Jared Verse, Laitu Latu, Byron Murphy, Jerzon Newton, Dallas Turner, the defensive line is on the board. You have to have the conversation. If we're talking offensive line, I think the Saints will take one. And I really think it's possible that the Seattle Seahawks go ahead and potentially take one. If not them, the Jaguars could always take one if they don't go with the Brian Thomas. Someone Swiss said, but Conklin is pretty good. Conklin is no Brock Bowers. I'm very confident they'll either go Fuaga for the offensive line or Brock Bowers. At the end of the day, we're going to have some damn good defensive guys on the board. We'll see how it continues to fall. Verse or Murphy, that's what I'm looking at. To be honest with you guys, I'm looking at Verse or Murphy, or let's see how the offensive tackles fall. But Bengals always do dumb stuff. Let's not say that yet, y'all. Let's not jinx it yet. Seahawks could take Murphy 1,000%. They could definitely take Byron Murphy. But if you get to the Seahawks pick and Jared Verse still on the board and Byron Murphy still on the board, you're going to have your pick at a lot of these guys. Jets will take Bowers and ruin him. The Jets would not ruin Brock Bowers. I promise you guys. Maybe he wouldn't perform up to expectations of everybody else who's expecting him to have an 1,000-yard season. But the Jets offense, how would they ruin him with Aaron Rodgers? You got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall. I think Brock Bowers would be a very good fit on their team. And I think he would be pretty productive with them. So if we go O-line, I want Mims talking about the Bengals. Let's see how the board falls. Let's see which offensive tackles are still there, because we could be having a conversation where Mims is off the board. So we'll see. Do you think Bo Nix goes to Denver? I don't think Bo Nix goes to Denver or the Raiders, to be honest with you guys. I think Bo Nix is a fine quarterback. I think he was productive. If you're the Broncos, you need to add talent. You don't have many draft picks this year. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking Bo Nix. And if I'm the Raiders, once again, what's the difference, in my opinion, between a Bo Nix and a Spencer Rattler? I don't think there's that much. I think Spencer Rattler has a ton of potential. I'd rather take Rattler in the second round, trade up for him in the second round, than take Bo Nix here. This is premium picks, and I don't believe that Bo Nix is a top 15 player in this draft. I think he's a quarterback who's getting pushed up because of the need of quarterback.
The Jets take Olu
Fashanu. Wow.
The Jets take him. Wow. Okay. I will tell you guys right now, we are officially on Byron Murphy watch.
Malik, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
We're going to have this conversation. I think there's a chance you're on Brock Bowers watch too.
No.
I don't think so. If the Colts, I hate that but also, let me just say this for all Bengals fans. No one was expecting Fuaga to be here within the last month. Literally no one was. And I think he could be taken by the Saints. I think he could be taken. But this was the first time where Fuaga was really, okay, like, hey, Fuaga could be a possibility. And most of our mocks, Fuaga was never there. And to talk about him for a second, I think Fuaga would be an ideal pick for the Bengals, because day one he slots in and is a far better left guard than Cordell Volson. He is your best interior offensive lineman day one. He is an absolute mauler. And he can be your potential offensive tackle of the future. So the fact that Fuaga is on the board is great. There is so much talent on the board. Fashanu, I'm happy. I'm happy he's not there for the Bengals. I think that's a bad pick for the Jets.
Really? Talk to me about it.
What are you doing? If you're drafting for the future, like Fashanu steps in day one, and he's a fine day one offense tackle, but we're talking about an AFC with Joey Bosa. We're talking about an AFC with Chris Jones. I think he's going to have some real struggles, especially I don't think their offensive line is great. Are you building for the Aaron Rodgers window? If you are, why do you not take Brock Bowers, who steps in day one and helps you compete? Why do you not take Fuaga, who helps your offensive line immediately? I think Fashanu could be, a potential star offensive lineman for them. Hey, if they believe that, good for them. What are you doing? Are you competing this year? Are you competing with Aaron Rodgers? If you're not, why not take JJ McCarthy there for your quarterback? So I just don't understand this. I think Faustinu is a future pick. I think Faustinu does not help you win a Super Bowl this year. I think he's an average tackle this season at best. I don't think you're going to get star production out of him. You're drafting him for his traits. You're drafting him for his potential. But if you're the Jets, you just got Aaron Rodgers. Aren't you trying to win a damn Super Bowl? I don't know. I'm as a Bengals fan, I'm happy. Foshinu's off the board. Latham's off the board. There is so much talent on the board. I'm happy, y'all.
Danny, you're so giddy over there. Now, listen, let's talk about the Brock Bowers thing. Let's talk about it. If you're the Bengals, right, look at me. If you're the Bengals and you covet Brock Bowers, right? You know how people say the Bengals will 100% would love Brock Bowers. Wouldn't this be a spot where you would entertain moving up for that guy? If you love him, if you think he's generational, if you think he's that type of a talent.
Yeah.
Because we still are a long way off from 18 still.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think they do that. Even if he was on the board, I don't think they do that.
Yeah.
But like you said, you think the Bengals are on Bowers' watch.
I think so. And the reason why I think so, Malik, there is so much talent that we weren't expecting to be on the board that's on the board. And this is where I would not trade up simply because of the pure talent that's on the board. We're at pick number 11, and you got Fuaga's on the board. You got Bowers. You have 3 edge rushers. You have Byron Murphy. That's 6. You have Amarius Mims. That's 7. All 7 of those guys were 7 that were potentially projected to not be that pick number 18. No shot in hell I'm trading up. No shot in hell. There's too much talent on the board.
I agree.
But if once again, if you're talking about Brock Bowers and everybody believes he's a generational guy, go up and trade for him.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
that's the
I would not trade up for Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers, if he's on the Bengals in a nutshell, I think he helps their offense.
Can I go a step further? I think Byron Murphy is a spot for the Broncos where I think we're on Byron Murphy watch right now, guys. I'm being honest. I think that a lot of these teams here we could see potentially, go him, because when you have a chance to grab probably the best defensive player in this draft, you do it, right?
Yep.
Have we gotten a defensive player drafted yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Wow.
One. So if I'm looking at the Broncos,
somebody said if we get Brady, if we get Brock Bauer, I said Brady. They said you have to do a gritty on the stream.
Me, I don't give a damn. I'll do gritty. I mean, I'm not gonna be. It depends. Let's wait to see how the board falls. I'm personally just gonna put it out there. I think Brock Bowers is a very good prospect. I don't think he is a generational guy. I think he's a very good prospect. If he is suiting up for the Bengals, he will help them be a productive player. He could be potentially the tight end of the future.
Bo Nix.
Ew.
Bo Nix for the Broncos.
Good for the Bengals once again. Holy crap. But I don't get it. I don't get it. Sean Payton, what are we doing?
This draft is just, wow. This draft is just falling right into the Bengals' hands. Who could have predicted all these quarterbacks falling, man? And this is why we watch. This is what we love about the NFL draft. Somebody asked me earlier, they said, Malik, is the draft your favorite time of the year? Your favorite time to stream? Honestly, free agency is. But
this feeling right now, this uncertainty right now, this is top tier, to be honest.
Because you know what it is? Because it's good to be plugged in with one team, but to not know what other teams might do, that's the interesting part.
Yes.
That's the interesting part. So you've got Raiders, Saints, right?
Yep.
Colts.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be interesting.
It's
going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their depth chart. I mean, what is he? Bo Nix is
like what does Bo Nix bring? Marissa, you've been kind of quiet. I know you've talked extensively about Bo Nix. Talk to the people a little bit. I'm gonna take a little water break for a second while we're doing this live stream.
Yeah, so with Bo Nix, they're getting a quarterback that has the rushing upside. Obviously, he's coming in after multiple years at college. I think it's more of like a stability factor because, again, I think he's reached more towards his ceiling already. While you look at prospects like a Drake Maye, for example, where he will be a little bit more sporadic. With Bo Nix, you're getting a lot more like certainty of, okay, he can come in right away, play right away, have that a little bit of adjustment factor, but at the same time, he's had all those years of college. He has the experience.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good enough move. I think it's a bit of a reach again, but at the same time, he can launch the ball 80 yards down the field with a flick of the wrist, and he presents that rushing upside that they were a little bit limited with Russell Wilson. And I would go as far as say that I see a lot of Russell Wilson in Bo Nix's game, and with Sean Payton's offense, I think he can actually do pretty good.
I know Zach Wilson's just in hell right now. He's just like, man, I thought this was going to be an opportunity for me to finally make something happen, man. And here we go. Here we go again, man. A lot of people, man, it's very, very interesting, man. A lot of people are talking about this draft. I mean, it's completely a reach. All these quarterbacks we're seeing go, completely a reach. And I do think that what.
I just think, I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
I don't think the Broncos, I don't know what they're doing. George Patton, if I'm looking at their GM, I think he's failed. This is a failure, not just Bo Nix. You traded for Russell Wilson. You gave up the house for him. You have 4 to 5 picks in this year's draft. I believe you don't have your 3rd round pick. And 2 years ago, you traded for Russell Wilson. And now you just spent a premium pick on a guy who is not, I'm sorry, Bo Nix and Mercer, like I think you were spot on with what Bo Nix is. He is not a top 10 talent. You are reaching for need. Bo Nix is a guy, let's just be completely honest. Let's take a look at the Broncos depth chart. Let's have an honest conversation, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs are in their division, far better team. The Chargers are in the division, a far better team. The Broncos depth chart, as it currently stands right now, your wide receivers are Cortland Sutton, Josh Reynolds, and Marvin Mims. Starting tight end is Adam Troutman. Let's talk about your offensive line. You have Mike McGlinchey. Yes, he's solid. You got Garrett Bowles, good. You lost your starting center. You got Ben Powers is below average offensive guard. You look at the defense, doesn't have a ton of talent. I mean, we're talking Pat Surtain, and that's it. George Patton has truly, I believe, messed up this Broncos organization. And I think Bo Nix is just set up for failure, man. I truly believe that. I think that Bo Nix, this may sound crazy, but Jarrett Stidham, I think, is better than Bo Nix year 1. And if this is something for the future, Bo Nix is 24 years old already? 23, 24 years old, is a 5-year college starter. I'll give it some time. I don't want to overreact, even though I definitely am. I'm just not a fan of what this Broncos team is doing. Maybe what it is, Malik, is Sean Payton understands, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not going to have another chance to get a quarterback. This is my one chance. He's never drafted a quarterback within the first 2 rounds in his entire NFL career. So maybe maybe Sean Payton believes Bo Nix could be Drew Brees. But if he does, you better damn go get some talent for him this year.
I mean, it's hard to just recreate and say, hey, this guy's going to be Drew Brees. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
like, I get where you're coming from, man. This draft has been crazy. I mean, crazy. I mean, when we did all the War Room mock drafts, none of it played out the way that it's playing out here. But
Hey,
this is why you love it.
Over 4.5 quarterbacks was a lock. I mean, 6 quarterbacks went within the first 12 picks. I don't know. Like, this is something where I wouldn't have. Obviously, there were some mocks that had Bo Nix here, but this is a shock, man.
Yeah, man. I agree, man. The Raiders are about to be on the clock, man. And,
Yeah.
we're looking at it. Could the Raiders go Byron Murphy here?
Yes. But
Pairing him with Christian Wilkins would be crazy, wouldn't it?
yes, if I am the Raiders, and I know I'm sure some Raiders fans watching. One of our guys from TWC, Tristan, does a good job. I am staying the hell away from cornerback. First off, no Terran Arnold, thank you. No Quinyon Mitchell, thank you. And also looking at the Bengals as well, I think this firmly takes, in my opinion.
Sorry to cut you off. Bo Nix family can't even believe he got picked. You see that?
Good for him. And let's also not mistake this. Not this needs to be said. We're very happy for the prospects. We're just talking about it from a team standpoint. Like Michael Penix Jr., the fact that he got picked number 8, the dude has went through so much in his NFL or, in his college career. Good for him as a player and as a person. The Raiders, Malik. And as it goes to cornerback, I don't want to hear about cornerback for the Bengals. I don't. The way that the board is falling for cornerback at 18, all 3 potentially could be there. 2 could be there. I don't want to hear about cornerback right now. Raiders should go defensive line. This is your chance. Antonio Pierce is a defensive-minded guy. You got Max Crosby on one side. You got Christian Wilkins. This is how you can stop Patrick Mahomes in your division.
Yeah.
It's Byron Murphy or it's one of the edge rushers. I don't think Latu fits their scheme. I don't think he fits
Dallas Turner, maybe?
I think it's definitely Dallas Turner. Or Jared Verse, I could see, but if you're a Raiders fan, you're rejoicing because let me look at their depth chart.
This draft just felt perfectly, man.
Yeah.
You're getting shots at guys that other eyes wouldn't have. And man, this is a talent-rich draft class in terms of the quarterback room. Obviously, this shows you this is a quarterback-driven league, and teams really value the quarterback position. So they're obviously going to reach on guys, and we might not always agree with things, but man, wow, I'm shocked. What else do you think, Daniel?
So I know they drafted Tyree Wilson with, I believe that was their first pick. I believe that was a top 10 pick actually 2 years ago. I know
the Raiders
hold on.
took Brock Bowers. Yeah.
Really?
The Raiders took Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a Raider.
Weird. I don't know, man. What the hell is going on? What's going on in this year's draft, you guys?
What I say? If you like a guy, if you want a guy, go up and get him.
Wow. Michael Mayer. I'm sorry, brother. 2 tight ends. And listen, Brock Bowers is going to be very good for them. But Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, what are we doing? I understand. Listen, there is no other option for you at quarterback. I just really think one of these defensive guys should have been their pick. I'm dumbfounded right now, Malik. I'm not a huge fan of their offensive line. I'm sure most Raiders fans never even thought to mock Brock Bowers to them. Holy crap. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, though. They took them so long to incorporate Brock Bowers into the offense, and not Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer. And when he was finally incorporated, it wasn't anything special, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So maybe they thought they was getting something different than what they actually got.
And it's a new regime. I think it's a first-year GM. I believe. I could be wrong, but I think it's Nick Caserio. No, not Nick Caserio. I believe it's the guy from the Chargers. Let's see, Raiders GM. I believe this is first year. Telesco. This is his first year. He just got fired from the Chargers or parted ways with the Chargers. So yeah, it goes to be shown. Hey, he didn't draft Michael Mayer. At the end of the day, Michael Mayer is a solid guy, but they must believe he's a transcendent tight end. And in my opinion, this is where organizations fail, Malik. This is where organizations fail. Not because Brock Bowers is a bad pick, but what is the state of your organization? You're not competing right now. You're not competing with Aiden O'Connell. You are not better than the Chiefs. You are not better than the Chargers. I'm sorry. You're adding to the offensive weapon room. I think this is a luxury pick. You are not in a position to draft luxury. You go Fuaga to build the offensive line. You go Jared Verse. You go Dallas Turner. You go Byron Murphy to build the defensive line. You build through the trenches. If I'm the Raiders, this is why you continue to do what you do. And this is why you don't have serious success. So once again, I'm sorry that I'm bagging on
flaming him.
I'm sorry I'm bagging him right away. This is not about Brock Bowers as a player. I think Brock Bowers will be very talented for them. I think Brock Bowers will be very productive.
At this point, I wonder, will the Saints go Byron Murphy? We're seeing teams, double up and do things that they did, do the exact same thing they did last year. Is this a point where the Saints go Byron Murphy and pair him up with Brian Bresee? Especially knowing that, Cam Jordan's still on the team, right?
Yes.
Yeah, knowing that his days are starting to come to an end.
But see the issue, Malik. I think Byron might be there. If I'm the Saints, I'm not even questioning, in my opinion. I'm going offensive tackle.
Yeah, I think they should.
And who's going to take Murphy? The Seahawks, maybe? I think all 3 edge rushers are still here. We got how many more picks into the Bengals?
Saints at number 14 are listening to trade offers, apparently.
I would be too with all these offensive tackles. Fuaga's still here. If they're listening to trade offers, if I were to make a prediction, who's a guy that could potentially be traded up for? Maybe an edge rusher. I don't know. Because if you're the Saints, this is similar to what we talked about in the war room. Once again, guys, if you guys are watching this, we appreciate you guys watching this. Give this video a like and drop your comments down below. We're getting very close to the Bengals pick.
Extremely close.
Give us your guys' thoughts, who you guys want the Bengals to take. if I'm the Saints, this worked very similar to what we did on the War Room. There were a ton of offensive tackles still on the board. You still have Fuaga on the board. You still have Graham Barton. You still have Mims. I'm trading back. Now I'm getting assets because I'm in a position right now where I want an offense tackle or I want a defensive lineman like Byron Murphy, like an edge rusher. So, Malik, if I were them, I would 1,000% trade back. If not, Fuaga is the pick. That's what I would do.
For the Saints, you're saying?
That's what I would do.
Man, like this draft is
Holy
is playing out perfectly, man.
So you got the Saints and then 3 more picks.
And our guy Joe Goodberry is going to be joining us soon, man. And we'll be cooking. It'll be time to cook. We'll see what people think, man. We'll see what people think what the Bengals do. Man, I don't know. I'm still surprised. No defense yet, right?
No defense.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This just shows you where the league is. This shows you that this is an offensive-driven league, man.
This is one of the things that I'm literally making a note of. Let's not push guys up the board next year because of their position. And what I mean by that, specifically, let's talk about corner. Taron Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell, and Nate Wiggins and Cooper DeJean. All 4 of them have been mocked in the early 20s and the high teens. Let's make sure that we're really discussing the best potential players available. And Taron Arnold is a very solid cornerback. I think he's got a high floor. Quinyon Mitchell has an extremely high ceiling. But are these dudes game changers day one? Are these dudes bona fide blue chip, can't miss prospects? No. And there's a reason why. You look at how the league is viewing these guys. Clearly, none of these defensive linemen have been taken. So it means one of two things. One, they believe it's a deep defensive line class in the draft, or 2, they believe that these guys like cornerback aren't game-changing pieces. Let me go to some of these questions real quick. Brian Harless said, or Ken Dipple said, who thinks Mims has higher value? I don't really know if he means higher value, but like if he's there for the Bengals, it depends on who else is there. But I'm just looking at, Mims. He has an extremely high ceiling, but with these other talented guys on the board, Jared Verse is still on the board. Dallas Turner's still on the board. Laitu Lot's still on the board. Talise Fuaga is still on the board. Graham Barton's still on the board. There's so much talent still on the board, guys. It's not necessary that you reach for a guy like Mims. Dallas Turner at 18. Let's see how the board plays out. In my opinion, my ranking would be I would go Verse, Latu, then Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is a athletic. You would look at him like his traits are great. He's super long. He's got the physical tools. But when you watch him on tape, he just kind of dominates. That's what he does. He dominates with his size. He dominates with his athleticism, not necessarily his bend like a Latu. He's not super flashy with his pass rush moves. He's just a very productive
The Saints
player.
take Fuaga.
Good pick. Good pick.
Saints take Fuaga.
Very good pick for them. If it's a need, that's perfect. Very good pick by the Saints. The Saints are one of the teams where I would say definitely had a very, very good pick.
My guy Lucky Luciano's in the building, man. What's up, Luck?
Luck.
Right on time for when the
the
Bengals
shades,
pick,
man.
huh? I hear you, man.
What's going on, man?
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Man, this is fun.
Yeah.
This has been a fun draft so far. Fun draft so far, man.
Ben Amber said, dang it, 1,000%. Fuaga would have been a very good pick for the Bengals. He slides right into offensive guard. But as we were discussing before, the way he got pushed up before the draft, after his testing, the dude was never, he wasn't going to be there. Daniel Jeremiah hyped him up a ton. A lot of these analysts hyped him up a ton, and rightfully so. Elite athlete, super strong, an absolute mauler in the run game. And when you look at a guy like Fuaga, he got pushed up the board because day one, he is the more pro-ready guy than an Mims. He is more pro-ready than a Tyler Guyton. He's more pro-ready right now than a Graham Barton. So Talise Fuaga for the Saints. If it's a need, very talented player, good for the Saints.
Man, this draft is crazy. I mean, just some of the picks that are that have happened. I can't believe this many quarterbacks have gone. That's the part that I think I'm really, really shocked about, guys. This is crazy. And the draft still couldn't have fallen any better for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll just say this. Like we talked about on State of the Jungle, this is not the time where you panic.
Nope.
It's not the time where you panic and you overreach on a guy. If a guy that you love is going to be here, you go out there and you grab him, right? If you covet one of these defensive players, because all the options, it seems like, are still on the board. All these edge rushers are still on the board. All the defensive tackles are still on the board.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't make a big deal about, obviously, the whole Trey Hendrickson thing. I wouldn't let that dictate. But if there's a guy that you knew you coveted coming into this draft, you go out there and you get him, man. We'll see what happens, man. There's going to be another there's going to be some defensive player that's a game changer on this on the board when the Bengals pick, man. It's we got a couple picks away from the Bengals. It's just exciting to see how this whole thing is shaping out, man. But I'm loving this, man. We appreciate you guys for joining us. Remember as well, we'll be doing our round 2 and 3, day 2 NFL draft coverage live from the new First Star Logistics studio tomorrow, which I'm really pumped up about. You're gonna be be there with Dave Lapham, be me and Daniel, Evan, Logan, Joe Goodberry is gonna be in with us on virtually. I'm pumped up for this draft, man. It's gonna be great, and we're gonna be joined by Brad Johansson. So I'm really, really pumped up for this. So make sure you guys head on over to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel and subscribe for day 2 coverage, because it's going to be electric. And remember, there's going to be prizes as well. And the only way to get access to those prizes is to watch, man. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, because our coverage doesn't just end after today. It really begins tomorrow. And I'm really, really excited about. But Daniel, talk to us some more about some of these picks, man.
I mean, I'm just looking at the Colts first off. The need is cornerback, 1,000%. I'm not going corner here. I'm sorry. Quinyon Mitchell is still here. Terran Arnold is still here. If I'm the Colts, hey, Philly, you want to trade up? Hey, any other team, y'all want to trade up? Because I'm looking to trade back. Hey, Saints, or hey, Steelers, I know you guys want offensive tackle. There's Mims still on the board. You guys want to trade up? I don't think that they should go corner here. Corner fits a need, yes. Is he the most talented player here? No. You got DeForest Buckner here on the defensive line. You have Kwity Paye. They have a very good defense, but to be honest, if I'm the Colts, you have Anthony Richardson. I'm not reaching for Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe you look to offensive line. Maybe you look at a Graham Barton. Potentially, this could be, a spot where I look at him. Hey, the Colts have really valued the offensive line. He's a dude who can play into your offensive line. I'm thinking Barton, Mims, or they got Kwity Paye. They have DeForest Buckner. I hate to say it. I really do think that Byron Murphy could be a pick for them, though.
Man.
So this is where, if you're the Colts,
see that too.
I think that you just go best player available. And let me think a little bit more about what I'm going to do here if I were the Colts. But you're in a great spot if you're the Colts. You could go best player available. A lot of talented guys on the board. Indy needs cornerback. Yeah, they definitely need a cornerback, but I think it would be a reach, in my opinion, with the way that these cornerbacks are falling. I'd rather take a cornerback in round 2. I think an Ennis Rakestraw Jr., to be honest, is better value at round 2 than taking a Terran Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell here. I think the talent is still so rich. You got edge rushers. I think that they kind of shock people, and I really think that they go defensive line, because I feel like most people, are projecting Quinyon Mitchell or Terran Arnold. So,
I mean, all offensive players so far, man, is crazy, right?
Yep.
I mean, you would think that somebody would say, hey, defense.
Yep.
Like, man, it's I'm lucky I'm not a general manager, man, because I'd be aggressive, man. I understand it's an offensive-driven league, but I'm licking my chops right now if I'm a defensive coordinator, man. You probably really thought the Raiders were going defense there, man.
I didn't
Yeah,
think,
man.
I don't think, we'll discuss. I don't think that was smart move. But listen, real quick, I want to go to right now for the Bengals.
Mhm.
We are 1, 2, 3. We're 4 picks away, 3 picks away. What are we thinking? What are we thinking with the board? Are we, first off, I'm personally not entertaining a trade up. I'm like, hey, let me just see how the board falls. But what do we think? Are you entertaining a trade back, or are you going to say, hey, let me see how the board falls,
Man.
and let's see what talent's still on the board?
With the Steelers right behind me, there ain't no way in hell.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
There ain't no way in hell that I'm entertaining a trade back right now, because a guy that you could be looking to get, man, might not be there, man. You're lucky. Yep. We're lucky the draft has fell the way it's fell.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try your luck twice. If usually I'll say, hey, I'll entertain a trade back, but this has been a great situation. Great situation. You might Now we have 3 more picks. We have the Colts, we have the Seahawks, and we have Jacksonville. You might have your pick at the best defensive player in this draft. I'm not taking a chance on that, man.
Yeah. Nope, I'm with you. We got Jacqueline Hyde said, y'all are the only crew I tune into every time. Love how fan interaction is behind a paywall. We appreciate you guys. Seriously, This is what we do. We do this for you guys. We're genuinely just watching the draft and talking shop with you guys. That's why we do what you guys do, or what we do. So if you guys have any questions or comments, just drop them down below. I'm hyped, Malik. I'm hyped with the way that this is turning out. Jared verse, I'm thinking about Byron Murphy.
I just want to just say, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning into the show and accepting a kid from Jersey, to come in and, really embrace me, man. I appreciate y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft coverage. But remember, this is a huge shout out to First Star as well, right? Because they took a chance on me, and I'm humbly, appreciative of the opportunity to, sit on this show every single Wednesday, talk with you guys, man. So we appreciate y'all.
Completely. I'm with you. So Malik, I'm ready for this, man. I'm ready. So we got some people asking about Amarius Mims, Byron Murphy. Let's just wait. So people are saying Dallas Turner, or asking about Dallas Turner. Once again, Dallas Turner is a very productive guy at Alabama. He's got the pedigree of, playing with, under Nick Saban and that defense. To be honest, I think first off, Jared Verse was just as productive as Dallas Turner was. Maybe not at the sacks department, but definitely in the run game. His ability. Pick. Hold on. Wait. Give me a hint. I want a hint.
La. Wait till I get la to.
Wow. Defensive line.
Defensive guy goes off the board. Wow, man. Did you like my song? My singing there? You didn't like it? Okay, I tried to sing a little bit.
Good pick.
You being a Kanye West fan, man, I thought that you would have. I thought you would have liked that.
I do think, I don't know if you want to continue to do those for the next couple, but I think you giving a little hint there that makes kind of a little fun. Because I'm not watching.
Can you clip that, please? I want to send that into Simon Cowell, whoever it is for the voice, or maybe I can make it, man.
Yeah,
man. I don't know, man. La. I try to be cool with that, man, but I guess I was a little corny. I don't know.
I think that was good. Listen,
man.
I'm happy. Once again, we just talked about this. And this is where you don't draft for need. You don't. I'm sorry. Quinyon Mitchell is fine. Terran Arnold is fine. They could be very good players at the NFL level. If you have the chance to get a game-changing guy like a Latu, you go out and get it. Just because you have what you pay doesn't mean it stops you. So Colts, very good pick, I would say. Great job not feeding into the need.
Balance and bike life. Why you always hating on me, man? I thought we was homies.
He said
stick to football. Man, I thought I had a singing career somewhere else, man, but I guess not. It's all right. No, I'm messing with y'all, man. We appreciate it. Like I said, guys, this is Byron Murphy watch right here. We the Seahawks could take him. The Jaguars could take him.
Let's see. Let me look at the Jaguars chart real quick. Hold on.
It's time to cook. My boy Lucky over there making a cook sign. So I'm gonna tap in with Joe Goodberry. Daniel, talk a little bit more about this, man.
No, I got you. So let's discuss these next two teams, right? We got the Seattle Seahawks. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The way I'm viewing the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are a team that's in win now mode. They need to win now. You can obviously discuss, some people are saying they could go up and get Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think so, because the way that they went out and they paid Gabe Davis a crap ton of money. They did Christian Kirk a ton of money. They have Zay Jones under contract. I don't think that they go with Brian Thomas. You could obviously look at offensive line, right? You got Cam Robinson. I believe they signed him to a franchise tag. You got Anton Harrison on one side. Interior offensive line, they definitely beefed up with Brandon Scherf.
Apparently, I just want to report this. Diana Rossini said, and I quote, the Falcons called Kirk Cousins when they were on the clock to let him know. From what I learned, Cousins understood a quarterback would be considered, but he did not believe his successor would be taken in the first round. I'm told he's a bit stunned. That's coming from Diana Rossini of ESPN. There's also Jane Slater says, as well as we all sit in shock over the Atlanta pick, a source tells me Kirk Cousins is just as shocked and disappointed. Never said anything to him or his reps about a quarterback in the first round, despite suggesting they would still. It's a business.
Terrible business.
Yeah.
Terrible business. What are you doing? Why sign Kirk Cousins if you're going to go get his successor? Why sign him for 4 years? What the hell are you doing? So, Malik, I think that was very important. You said, I just don't. That's a brain that hurts my head.
Yeah, man. I don't know about that pick. We've talked about it a lot. But let's talk about our Bengals. Let's keep talking about our Bengals, man.
So, yes, Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they have edge rushers, right? Trayvon Walker, they signed or they drafted. Josh Allen. So, they're not going to go edge, in my opinion, right? So, that means Verse and Dallas Turner are no. Interior defensive line, I mean, Eric Armstead, they signed. Could they go with the Byron Murphy? I think they could.
I actually don't know if they would go him.
I know they signed
because
Eric
they still
Armstead.
have Leonard Williams, don't they?
No, they have Roy Robertson
Harrison.
And Dave
Well, so Leonard Williams, where'd he go?
Leonard Williams, I believe, is on the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I was saying Jaguars.
No. Yeah, okay. I was thinking about Seahawks,
yes.
yeah.
No, Seahawks, I think that, Troy Fautanu is one that was getting mocked. Their offensive line was getting mocked there. So really the only spot for Byron Murphy, Malik, is Jacksonville. Do I think that they would go Byron Murphy over an offensive lineman? I don't know.
I'd have a hard. Byron Murphy is considered to be the best defensive player in this draft, potentially. And I just don't know if I don't know. I have a hard time seeing them do that.
So if you're Seattle, right? I'm with you. So
Are you saying for the Bengals or are you saying for
Jaguars?
I don't know what the hell the Jaguars are going to do.
Yep.
They drafted edge the last 2 years. Could they go corner?
That's actually a great point. Quinyon Mitchell, potentially. I think Quinyon Mitchell would be a great fit with them. So Seahawks, I'm just looking at their depth chart right now. Man, you got Leonard Williams still here. So I don't think, Byron Murphy, I don't know if that would be the smartest move. You still have a lot of Seahawks fans I've talked to are huge fans of Jaron Reed. So they're very confident in, for sure, Leonard Williams. Boye Mafe, still a fan of. They won't go corner because they got Tariq Woolen. They got Devin Witherspoon on the other side. You got your two starting offensive tackles, Cross and Lucas. I think it's Fautanu potentially. Fautanu or Verse. If I'm Seattle, I'm looking at, because also once again, who are my edge rushers? Boye Mafe, and you have your pick of Dallas Turner and Jared Verse. If I were to make a prediction, I think it's Dallas Turner. That's my prediction.
Dallas Turner.
It'll either be Turner, Fautanu, or Verse. But I think that they're going to be in love with Turner's productivity at Alabama. I think they're going to see his size, his length, and they're going to see he was just all around a productive guy. And at the end of the day, that's what you get with him or Verse. If I'm Seattle, this board fell perfectly. You can go for Fautanu, but at the end of the day, I would go edge rusher. I think it'll be Dallas Turner.
Is there any chance that the Jacksonville Jaguars go offensive tackle? Yeah. Because I think that I look at them and I say the board is also still open for you. If you want to do everything in your power to keep Trevor Lawrence upright, is that a spot where you could see them doing that?
1,000%. I think it's definitely, you can look at, I mean, you got Amarius Mims, you got Graham Barton, and potentially you could have a Troy Fautanu here as well. So the cornerback is definitely going to be the biggest thing for them. It's either going to be a cornerback. It could be Byron Murphy, man, but I don't know if you're in a spot right now that you can afford to take a Byron Murphy, right? You have Trevor Lawrence, who's still playing on his rookie contract. You're trying to go out and win a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson now. I don't know if they go edge rusher. I think offensive tackle or cornerback. I think if you're them and they're at a spot at 17, Quinyon Mitchell would be my pick.
Yeah, he's still on the board, man. He's still on the board. And that's a guy you're like, wow. Terry and Arnold, a guy you're like, wow. You know what I mean? And it's like.
Or they could even reach on a Nate Wiggins, to be honest. Obviously, they've loved some Clemson guys in the past. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence. But so Seattle, I think they'll go edge. Let's see some of these questions.
Yeah, let's get some of these questions, Marissa, if we can. Or Daniel wanted.
Riss, you go, some.
Okay, so going back to an earlier one, especially with now being both on the board, Chuck2624 asked, what's the difference between Murphy and Newton?
Want me to go?
You go.
Murphy and Newton, let me just say this. Newton was the more productive college player. he put 3 years of very good, not only film, but very good production out there at the college football level. Byron Murphy really only showed up. He had 2. What up? Hold on.
Seahawks take Byron Murphy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Womp. Womp.
Yeah. Yeah. That stings. But you know that, you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? You look at it, man. Yeah, I think now I'd probably consider a trade back, obviously. I think now you consider a trade back, especially if the Eagles are still trying to come up and get a tackle. And the way tackles are kind of flying off the board. So,
Moment of silence for Byron Murphy to the Bengals.
yeah, man.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Oh, so who's on the board? Verse.
I already know what angle you're about to go with. Corner, aren't you?
No.
Okay.
No. Let me just say this. Well, let's see what the Jaguars do. I'm not going corner. Offensive tackles, who's on the board? Flotson, who's on the board. Graham Barton's on the board. Mims is on the board. Defensive tackle, Jerzon Newton's on the board. Edge rushers, the real spot where I'm looking at, you weren't expecting Turner and Verse to be here. Those are 7 guys that you can I view as pretty high prospects. I would be entertaining a trade back. I would, because if for the contingency out there that are fans of going for offensive tackle, you can trade back for an offensive tackle. You don't need to rush an offensive tackle right now, because I don't think the difference between drafting a Mims at 18 and Barton at 22 is that big of a difference. So if you're looking, for you Bengals fans right now, if you guys are looking at offensive tackle, I would personally be looking to trade back. If we're going strictly best player available, you have to look at the edge rushers, Malik. You have to. And this is part of the conversation right now. Zach Taylor, Lou Anarumo. Let me just say this, guys. Lou Anarumo, I'm walking up to Duke Tobin. I'm saying, hey, here's my list of players on defense.
Yeah.
I'm going Verse, Jerzon Newton, and Dallas Turner. If you want a defensive player, here's how you go.
And let me just be clear. The vibes are still high.
Yes.
The vibes are still high.
Yes.
The board has fallen perfectly for the Bengals. The Bengals are going to get somebody very good here still.
Yes.
The way that this draft has fell, man, this is perfect for the Bengals, right? You got to feel very, very good about it. Very curious to see what the Jacksonville Jaguars do. Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars go Johnny Newton. What's that evil smile over there for?
I'm nervous. That's what it's for,
okay.
man. We're here. It's what we've been talking about for 2 months, for 3 months. We've been scouting these dudes. I mean, I'm especially excited for obviously tomorrow, first our logistics draft live stream. Though that's the day, round 2, round 3. Those were what I really love. But at the end of the day, Malik, we're almost here, man. How many minutes is on the clock for each pick right
10
now?
minutes.
Still 10. Okay.
They're just taking forever. What if Jacksonville goes Mims?
Yeah. If let's play the projection game. If Jacksonville goes Mims, the conversation is Barton, edge rusher, and Newton. Once again, I would be confident all 4 of those guys. I'd look to trade back. Just a couple spots, but
are you willing to? Because I want to play a scenario for you. There's a team by the name of the Pittsburgh Steelers who could virtually draft an edge rusher.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
There's a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers that could do that. And would they double dip? Would they go tackle? Will they take Broderick Jones last year and then take Marius Mims this year? Both guys came from Georgia. Would that make sense for them? Like, there's so many, like, I understand the trade back scenario, and it is something I'm still interesting, if you will, but it's still something that is risky. It's a risky game because it cannot fall the way you want it to.
And that's what it all depends. Like, you look at the Rams. I believe the Rams is right behind the Bengals, right, at 19. So it's Rams, Steelers, Dolphins, I believe, then Eagles. Man, there's still talent on the board. I'm looking at Verse. I'm personally not looking at the cornerbacks right now, to be honest. I think Terran Arnold is...
Whoa. Vikings are back on the clock.
Ooh.
Vikings are back on the clock.
Vikings made a trade up.
Who? For who? Who is this for?
Okay, so what you traded for JJ McCarthy, or you drafted JJ McCarthy in a trade up? You're looking at a potential starting offensive lineman, I think, to pair with JJ or an edge rusher. Let me look at the depth chart. It's got to be Mims or an edge rusher, unless because I don't think that they would go. Would they go Brian Thomas and then trade Jefferson? That's the only way. But you're either looking at a franchise offensive tackle for JJ McCarthy in the future, like a Mims, or could they go corner? But why would you trade up for corner?
Why would you trade up for corner at the board? Yeah. This is. What if they take Verse?
Yeah, but they I mean, they don't have Daniil Hunter. Gosh damn it.
Man, this is spicy. This is getting interesting.
So let's see. I'm looking at the depth chart. They just signed Jonathan Grenard. Yeah, it's looking slow with their edge rushers. It's one of Dallas Turner or Jared Verse.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because these two, in what other drafts are you getting a premium edge rusher at pick number 19 or 17? Because, I mean, you look at the offense tackles. Yeah, they got Christian Darrisaw. I mean, maybe it's a Mims, but I don't know. It's going to be a Mims, in my opinion. It's a Mims or an edge rusher. Good on the Jaguars for trading back.
Dallas Turner.
Good for them.
Dallas
All
Turner.
right, so the Bengals are on the clock.
Dallas Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cincinnati Bengals are officially on the clock, and it's go time. Let's pull up the board if we can, Marissa. Let's see who's on available right now, man. The way this draft is falling, man, is interesting. Man, damn, this is crazy. This is crazy.
All right, best players available: Jared Verse,
yes,
Jerzon Newton,
yes,
and Amarius Mims / Barton. You could talk about corner Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the way if I'm the Bengals.
All right, if you're the Bengals, who are you picking right here? Let's go around the room. Let's make some picks.
Yep. If I'm the Bengals right now, once again, between Mims, Barton, and Verse, and Newton, I'm not passing up on Jared Verse. I'm going to say if I were them, but Newton's so good. I don't think that they would take Newton this high, in my opinion. If I were the Bengals, I think that they go Verse. I would go Verse. I think that they go Amarius Mims.
Think the Bengals go Mims?
I think they go Mims.
Chase, what do you think?
Man, give me Verse, man. Give me Jared.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You don't.
Dog. Give me that dog. At this point, pick 18. Yeah, absolutely. Give me somebody who's going to tally that with Trey.
How are you going to announce this? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I'm nervous, man.
This is
Marissa,
interesting.
who'd you go?
What should have been the edge one in this class, Jared Verse. If it's Jared Verse, that will elevate this defense.
Yep. Malik.
Yeah. Man, I would consider a trade back here. I would in some scenarios. I would. But you guys know my favorite player in this draft is. I listen. If we're comparing the two, we're comparing. All right, I hear you. I'll give you the spoiler when I hear. If we're comparing the two, it's hard for me to put Newton over Mims. I mean, over Verse.
Yep.
It's hard for me too. I don't think that that's something I can do. I just think that man, it's yeah. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
I think they're gonna go Mims, man.
And
this is the part, man. Is like.
Mims. I mean, listen. You get your tackle of the future, right?
Yes.
If that's the case, and you take a chance on a guy that had a lot of I guess hype, if you will, right? And then obviously the injury concerns are things that come up. Why are you pulling your hair out over? Are you stressing over there?
Yeah, man. You don't have a good
listen, man.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The Bengals are taking Amarius Mims.
All right.
The Bengals take Mims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amarius Mims is the pick for the Bengals. Man, they get their tackle of the future. They get their guy who a lot of people are yeah, I mean, yeah. Marius Mims, Bengals. Danny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So this is one of the rare.
And isn't this what we did in the mock draft this past the war room? Did we draft him?
We traded back for
traded back?
Marius Mims. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is, let me just say this. This was one of the more obvious picks.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people projected Marius Mims.
Mm-hmm.
This was the one that pretty much everybody was saying, oh, if he's there, he's going to be the pick. That's rarely happened with the Bengals. So I'm looking at this once again. It's going to be hard for me to remember passing up on Jared Verse, talented guy. Passing up on Jerzon Noon, talented guy. But looking at Amarius Mims, listen, the Bengals are very clear that, hey, we want our tackle of the future. And they made it clear that they don't want, and it's not a necessity that you have to be a day one producer. My issue with this would be he doesn't step inside. He's not going to play guard. He is your right tackle of the future. And let's just talk about it. He started 8 games for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
In those 8 games, he looked damn good. He did. He looked damn good. He has the size, 6'7", extremely lengthy, extreme strength. He's got great hand placement. He, went up against some of the best, of the best. He played Washington for the first, I believe, quarter of the national or, of the playoff game. And he looked amazing. I believe it was them or it was against Alabama, but he looked amazing. And he's played some great competition at Georgia. When he's on the field, he was great. And he has the size, he has the intangibles, he has the prototypical franchise offensive tackle. And if you're getting a potential franchise offensive tackle at pick number 18, you're getting what you want. The concern is he only played 8 games. So the Bengals are probably approaching this, hey, Joe Burrow's going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years. We want our offensive tackle, not just for this year, not just for next year, but for the next 4-5 years. So Amarius Mims, I think, is a long-term play. I think he will develop into the franchise tackle for the Bengals.
Hey, regardless, guys, like we said, doesn't matter if it's a pick we love, pick whatever, we'll celebrate it, right? We want him to do well. I definitely think the potential with Mims is extremely high if he's able to stay healthy. A lot of people were very, very high on him throughout this draft process. Bengals get their guy. So let's clap it up for that. I mean, the Bengals get their guy. I don't think there's any heads to be hanging, if you will. Talking to Dave Lapham about it, it's a guy that he was really, really high on, and he raved about him. So Amarius Mims, man, let's see what happens here, man. Let's see if he's able to be that tackle of the future for the Cincinnati Bengals. But Daniel, any more initial thoughts on it?
Once again, the initial,
and Joe will be joining here shortly.
Of course. And I'm excited for that. I think the initial reaction, once again, if you guys are watching this, drop down your guys' immediate reaction right now. Comment down your guys' reaction. What do you guys?
Sound off.
Yeah, let us know. What do you guys think about Mims? Are you guys okay with passing on a Verse or Jerzon Newton? Let's just talk about it. Cornerback, I'm fine with passing on. Cornerbacks, you'll have your pick at the litter at round 2, round 3, round 4. That's fine. Defensive tackles, there's a reason why they went out and they brought in a lot of these defensive tackles for visits, right? I believe still, if Byron Murphy was there, I believe it's a different conversation we're having right now. Jerzon Newton is probably a different guy that they didn't value as highly as Amarius Mims. So I look at Mims in my heart right now. What do I feel like? I feel like he will be the Bengals franchise offensive tackle. I believe he will be a I believe he will be a good offensive tackle to a potential great offensive tackle for the Bengals. Do I see him producing year 1? Probably not until Trent Brown gets hurt, unless, knock on wood. So Amarius Mims, this is a future play. You're going to protect Joe Burrow in the future. And this is, to be honest, Lou Anarumo and Duke Tobin specifically, this is a bet on Myles Murphy. This is a bet on Myles Murphy. And I'm okay with that. You're betting on Myles Murphy. And let me just say this. This is a huge year. And I don't want to put a lot of pressure on him. He doesn't, it's not like he's asking for it, but Duke Tobin, you pass on a guy like Jared Verse. right? And that shows that, hey, also this whole conversation we're having about Trey Hendrickson, null and void. None of that. Trey Hendrickson's going to be on the roster this year. I'm sure that was never a doubt. So Cincinnati Bengals, I'm looking at the pass rush day 2. We got to have that conversation. Devondre Sweat, Dwayne Carter, Michael Hall, Leonard Taylor, Rook. I'm looking to double up at defensive tackle. But that's neither here nor there. Amarius Mims. If we're talking prototypical, let me just be honest, though. I'm happy that's Mims and not Barton.
Yes.
Let me just say that. I think Barton, it could be a fine offensive tackle, but Mims is a guy where he's got the prototypical size. And Mims' film versus Barton, when he was on the film, is light years better than Barton's. I think Mims' hand placement is better. I think Mims' athletic ability shows up far more than Graham Barton's does. So I'm definitely happy that it's a Mims and not a Barton. And let me just say this. I'm happy that we don't have to worry about offense tackle later. Forget about offense tackle now. I don't want to hear about it for the next 3 rounds. I'm good. So Mims is your potential franchise offense tackle of the future, and it shows the Bengals aren't needing day 1 production out of their first round guys. So I'm happy with the pick. It just stings that Jared Verse was there, because we talked about this every war room that, hey, if an edge like Verse, if a defensive tackle like Byron Murphy is there, we have the conversation. Seems like we had the conversation and came and went. So I like Amarius Mims. Happy with the pick. Stings that it wasn't Jared Verse, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, I just you're hopeful. I mean, it's a limited sample size, so what you saw, you liked, but you would have loved to see more. You would have feel more comfortable. Obviously, you just wish you saw more on tape. And all we have to go off of is 8 games. And I guess the Bengals evaluation was Bengals Jim, where I'm seeing him on the stream right now. I'm happy for Jimmy. We talked earlier today. He's taking the call right here. They're showing it live on television. He's crying. He's got a full house. Yeah, Marius Mims. Good for the guy, man. Good for the guy. But no, man, you're banking on potential here. You're banking on potential because what you saw was very good for him. You hope that he could stay healthy. You hope that he could be that franchise player of the future. Somebody said you hope that it's the Anthony Munoz effect. And did
you say Bengals Jim was on the actual the TV?
Yeah, they showed him. They showed him on the ESPN stream. So, good for him. Good for Amarius Mims. They're showing some of his tape here. I think the biggest thing is the unknown factor, right?
Yes.
And I think that's it. Like, you want to be sure, especially when it comes to your first round pick. And, Bengals get an absolute mammoth at tackle. He's 6'8", 340 pounds. That's insane. So, and his ability to move is insane. So you're just hoping that he's able to stay healthy. And Operation Protect Joe Burrow is huge. So.
No, I'm with you. I mean, just talking a little bit more about this, the more I'm thinking about it, right? The Bengals, obviously, I'm sure, like Byron Murphy. I think the Bengals showed their hand, but they made it pretty clear that they were going to look to one of these offensive tackles, right? And they made it very clear that, hey, whether it was bringing in a lot of these top offensive tackles or whether it was bringing in Trent Brown, they made it very clear that they were going to be okay with taking a guy who, like Amarius Mims, he most likely won't be starting day 1. There's a chance that obviously he could, but I would not be starting Amarius Mims over Trent Brown. No shot now. Just because of the fact that you have a veteran like Trent Brown who's been there, done that before. He's got the prototypical size. Trent Brown is a solid offensive tackle when he's on the field, when he's healthy. So Amarius Mims is going to get a shot at some point this year. I'm very confident in saying that. And
you hope he doesn't, though, because you really want to see Trent Brown upright. Not unless he's like taking spots, snaps at guard, which I don't foresee. You really don't want that. But it's a nice situation to have.
Yeah, but at the same time, for me, right? If I drafted Amarius Mims, I'd be saying, hey, like, if the dude doesn't get any run this year, I'd be looking at that as a waste. Like for me, and that's why I think this is the conversation. I agree. I think Trent Brown is going to be a better offensive tackle than Amarius Mims is right now. But the fact that you went out and drafted him, I'd be looking for him to go out and play. And the only question that I'm seriously going to have is, hey, I don't want him coming in late in the season. I don't want him coming in week 17 because so that's definitely the conversation that you're going to have is, hey, Trent Brown, it seems like they're expecting him to start the year, and pretty much how every one of his seasons gone, he hasn't finished the year, but I wouldn't be wishing that Trent Brown away. So Marius Mims, franchise offense tackle of the future. All right.
Yeah. So I think the next question is, do the Pittsburgh Steelers crush us and take Jared Verse here when their time comes on the clock? That's going to be the question here. Are we going to be dealing with TJ Watt and Jared Verse for the next couple of years? And in that case, you better be happy that you drafted a Marius Mims, right? And hoping that he pans out, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. So, but all in all, man, this is a good pick.
Yeah.
This is a good pick. I don't think anybody is like too high or too low about it. I think we're all like, okay, we understand the pick. It makes sense. And I think where a lot of Bengals fans are just very cautiously optimistic is because of the track record with first round offensive tackles, right? Jonah Williams was supposed to be a sure thing for the Bengals, and it was very, very, very strange. And it didn't quite pan out the way people expected. Jared versus a Ram, by the way.
Good.
Jared versus a
pick.
Ram.
Good
Jared
pick.
versus a Ram. That's good. That's good. We're happy about that. But at the end of the day, man, you look at it. You look at it, man. I'm thrilled. I was nervous that Jared Verse was going to go to the Steelers. I'm thrilled now. I'm okay now.
Let me just say this though. It's gonna be hard seeing Jared Verse. I'm very confident. If I were to make a bold prediction, I think Verse could be defensive rookie of the year this year. I really do think that Jared Verse could be defensive rookie of the year. I mean, you look at the rest of these guys, I think Verse, it's going to be between like a Verse and a lot to be honest.
Joe Goodberry will be on in about 5, guys.
Awesome.
So we'll be getting his live reaction on the draft and his opinion on things. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say. And man, yeah, like I said, man, you feel good about the tackle spot, right, of the future. You allow Marius Mims to sit for a year, learn, and then go from there, man. But one thing I do want to remind people as well, Trent Brown is a guy that has played a lot of spots in the National Football League. I view him as the right tackle of the Cincinnati Bengals this year, but the goal is always to put the best 5 guys out there.
Yes.
Right? That's the goal, to always put the best 5 guys out there. So a lot of it makes sense, man. Lucky, what are your thoughts, man? I want to hear you. I know you're not on mic, but I still want to hear you.
You know what, man? I like it. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest reason why is, number one, it's not J.C. Latham.
Yes.
I felt like he just wasn't athletic enough.
Yep.
He kind of reminded me of Jonah. The only thing I'm a little nervous about is A, his track record, and then B, it's kind of like, okay, round 1 we don't get a starter right away.
Yes.
Right? And that's really the two things. Is you'd like your round 1 guy to come in and instantly be that guy, but I think, to your point, Malik and Daniel, you're setting up for the future.
Yeah.
What he showed on tape was fantastic. And in the AFC North, you're going to need that. You're going to need somebody who's 6'8" and has that physicality to him and can move really well. So I understand the pick. I'm not really super high or super low on it. I just think it's a solid pick for the Bengals.
Yeah, man. And Lucky doesn't have a mic in front of him, which is why you guys are hearing the sound that you're hearing. We're getting his live feed in his reaction on the pick. So all in all, though, I think you're looking at this draft and you see it, right? You say, man, and I agree with Boltar saying in the comment section. He says, if you don't pick a tackle in the first round, it really puts you in a bad spot in rounds 2 or 3 because you feel like you'd have to reach at some point. Because as much as I like Blake Fisher, there's no telling, right? There's talk about that guy being moved all the way up into the second round, and that was at first we're like, all right, man, do you feel good about drafting that 49? And if the answer is no, then you're probably don't want to pigeonhole yourself. So I definitely understand the pick. I'm curious to hear the Bengals' thought process on things and going forward. Daniel, what else are some of your thoughts? Let's talk about Jared Verse to the Rams while we wait for Joe to join us.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at Jared Verse to the Rams, I think this is a great pick for them, to be honest. You're going best player available. If Byron Murphy was there, I think that's your Aaron Donald replacement. Jerzon Newton, once again, and this is where we have this conversation for all Bengals fans watching. Jerzon Newton definitely could have been the pick. I'm way more comfortable in a round 2, round 3 defensive tackle. I absolutely love the class of Tavondre Sweat, Michael Hall, Dwayne Carter. And I know it sounds like a broken record right now, but those guys are going to be available. You got 2 third-round picks. You got a second-round pick. It's okay that Jerzon Newton was not the pick. I think Jerzon Newton's still on the board. I think he's going to make a team very happy. Him and Jared Verse are 2 guys that step in day one, especially when we talk about Jared Verse. You look at a team like them, I think they got Byron Young on there, as one edge rusher. Jared Verse steps in day one and helps them be an elite pass rusher. He is one of my favorite prospects in this year's class. He steps in, is not going to be a weak spot in the run game. He's a very good pass rusher, relies a lot on his strength, super productive. Good for the Rams. This is the first time I believe they made a first-round pick in some time. So
yeah, they tweeted out, it's been 84 years. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough looking at Jared Verse being gone, but looking at the Steelers too, who are on this next pick, the Steelers could really go anywhere. They've got their pick at a bunch of potential options. You could go offensive tackle, right? You could go with a Graham Barton right now. You could go defense, potentially a cornerback, right? Some people were saying Quinyon Mitchell, Taron Arnold. Interior defensive line, could they go bolster it with Jerzon Newton? I don't think so. Brian Thomas Jr. potentially. This could be a spot. Maybe this is a spot, to be honest. If I were to make a bold prediction, this is just a shot in the dark. I think this could be the spot where we see a crazy wide receiver go, like a Xavier Worthy, like a Ladd McConkey, like a A.D. Mitchell, to be honest. I think Brian Thomas is a phenomenal wide receiver. Brian Thomas doesn't offer me a ton more than, what George Pickens is doing. I think Brian Thomas is a much faster receiver. He is a deep downfield threat. I just wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers, if they went the wide receiver route, did something crazy with an A.D. Mitchell or Xavier Worthy. But it'll probably be like an offensive tackle. Let me just say this, though. If they went Jerzon Newton, like we got one of our guys in the comment section, Ken Dipple, said, watch Steelers go Jerzon Newton. If they went Jerzon Newton and you got Cam Hayward.
No, the Steelers did Troy Fontenot.
Good offensive line.
Is that, am I pronouncing his name correct?
Fontenot.
Okay.
Fontenot. Good
Steelers
pick.
go offensive line. Yeah.
Good pick. Build offensive line. I'm a fan of it. Troy Fontenot is a guy where he could play interior offensive line. He didn't play interior offensive line at college. He played left tackle for Washington, but his movement skills he's not the longest guy. He's super athletic. His movement side to side, his footwork is phenomenal. Pittsburgh Steelers, very good pick. Good pick for them.
But you're happy that it's not a defensive guy like Newton.
If it was Jerzon Newton, let me just say I would have been.
How about all the corners still on the board, man?
We talked about this, though, right before, right? We said this cornerback class, the top of the class, you're not getting a guy who steps in day one and is a wow. So I think now is going to be the time where you're going to have some teams in the clock. Now they're going to get some value. But, Malik, am I okay with a Kyrie Jackson in round 2 over a Quinyon Mitchell? 1,000%. 1,000%. So it definitely shows where the league is valuing them at. We got the Dolphins at pick 21. Would they go corner? Probably not.
Would they? I mean, why wouldn't they?
Interior. I mean, I think Graham Barton potentially offensive line. I think they could, but so now that it makes
Philly's going to run to the podium if Graham Barton is there, I believe.
Yeah,
I know Philly is punching air right now, man.
And let me just say this: the Jaguars. I don't know what they got for the Vikings trade up. Good on them. I guarantee they'll go corner, and it's because the way the cornerback room was falling.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
If you're the Bengals and a guy like Johnny Newton falls sort of the back end of the first round, are you even entertaining the idea?
I'll entertain it.
Yeah.
I would entertain it. Will the Bengals?
No.
Probably not. But me? If Jerzon Newton is there at pick number 30, I would probably have to give up next year's second.
I love what someone said in the comment section. I'm trying to get their Ty Kendall says he could see Jackson Power Johnson going to the Dolphins here. I mean, he's one of the guys that fits their scheme, right? If you think about they're very similar to that Oregon scheme, if you will. I don't think Jackson Power Johnson fits in just anybody's system. And I think me and my guy Parker Blake, we talked extensively about it. And yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I think Jackson Powers-Johnson would be a great pick for them. You got two on your team. You got a window now. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Jalen Waddle. You're trying to go out there and win right now. 1,000%. I think Jackson Powers-Johnson would be a great pick. Some people are saying trade up. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking, would we trade up? I think Jerzon Newton is a very good prospect that you definitely got to entertain it. At the end of the day, once again, I'll sound like a broken record, but Tavondre Sweat, Dwayne Carter, Leonard Taylor, Michael Hall, you're going to have your pick at some of these defensive tackles. If it were me, day 2, I'm looking at those guys and I'm penciling one of them in. At this point, you're probably staying in pat because you don't want to give up future assets. At the end of the day, it's all fine and dandy to say, all right, let's give up next year's 3rd round pick. Let's give up next year's 2nd round pick for Jerzon Newton. It's a smart move, but at the end of the day, we know you got to value those future picks because that next year we'd be saying, hey, where the hell's our 3rd round pick? Where the hell's our 2nd round pick? Oh, it's Johnny Newton. And you'll probably be happy with it, but future assets are extremely important. I know the Bengals will value them. So, yeah, looking at some of these questions, Tyler J said, any chance the other corner from Alabama will be available at 49? In my opinion, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if Terry Arnold will make it there.
I don't think Terry Arnold will make it there. I don't think Kool-Aid McKinstry will make it there. Maybe this is a different conversation that we're having now because the corners are getting pushed back. I just think both Kool-Aid will not be there at 49. But some of these other guys, Kyrie Jackson will be there, in my opinion. I think, Kamari Lassiter from Georgia potentially could be there. I think this Rakeshaw could be there from Missouri. Now you're going to start looking at round 2. This is where the draft gets best player available. Seriously. This is where we're talking best player available round 2. You can talk about it. Jordan White said Mims is a home run pick. 1,000%. We discussed Mims is a absolute stud, and it shows the Bengals wanted a franchise offensive tackle. You got 6'7", you got length. I see.
Home run. I don't know about home run.
I mean, we're discussing. I think Amarius Mims is if you're talking
the potential. He has the potential to be a home run pick.
Yes,
I think there's nothing that Amarius Mims has shown people to make you feel like he's not going to be a good player. The biggest concern you have is just the limited reps. If you saw what you saw in 8 games. More on tape, you'd be loving the pick. We all be loving the pick.
Yes.
The question mark is we just have not seen we just haven't seen it consistently.
Yep.
It's just the injury, and it's just we haven't seen that consistently on tape. It has nothing to do with the talent. We are now joined live, I believe, by my brother. He's in the comment section with his brother. We got Joe Goodberry in the building. Joe, what's up, my man?
What's going on, boys? How we doing with the Amarius Mims pick?
We're doing good. What's going on, Glenn?
What's up, Malik? Good to see you again.
So, do me a favor, right, guys? Let's calm the Bengals fan base the fuck down. Right now, everybody is pissed. They are heated. They are like, what in the hell are the Bengals doing? Joe, be the voice of reason.
Well, first I would say who would be a better option. I think the only better option, the way this draft ended up playing out, would be Quinion Mitchell, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people would say Johnny Newton, but it just doesn't seem like the league has him as a top 20 player. I think the Bengals like him. I just don't think they're going to go against the grain here and take Johnny Newton unless it was a disaster scenario or they had to trade back. So if you were saying you would rather have Troy Fautanu, I completely disagree. I think he's a guard. I think he's got more issues in his game that are unfixable at 24 years old. And I don't know that the Bengals would play him at guard, where I think he'd be better off. So I'm glad the Steelers took him and not the Bengals, to be honest with you. I understand the risks of Amarius Mims, but comparing the two of them, I would not take Fautanu even close to Amarius Mims. Mims is a high upside selection. Sure, maybe there's a lower floor there where Fautanu has a solid floor because he'd probably be a long-term starter at guard if he doesn't work at tackle. But at the same time, are we just looking for solid starters, or is this team needing to raise the roof on their offensive line and get a good player on the offensive line?
I agree with you. I agree with you, man. My guy in the draft, you've seen my tweets, is Jared Verse. I loved him. I understand the pick. And obviously when I was talking with Dave Lapham, he brought me to the light, as to why Amarius Mims is potentially such a good pick for the Bengals. And the one thing I will say, if we're looking on the positive outlook, and Joe, I think you did a great job explaining it. but you're now in a position where you don't feel like you have to reach in the later rounds for a tackle. And every single time we've done State of the Jungle War Room and we take a defensive tackle in the first round, we were always faced with the situation.
Yep.
What do we do at 49? Do we reach for a guy who we really think, when we really think there are other talent that's better on the board? Or, do we draft a guy and then do we just miss out on tackle altogether? So I think the drafting of Amarius Mims makes a lot of sense for the Bengals, and it just really opens up things up for the next round.
The worst part about the Mims pick, in my opinion, is that it doesn't give you a guy that you could kick to left guard for a year, like a Tali Fuaga would have given you that opportunity, right? Maybe a J.C. Latham, maybe a Troy Fatana would have given you that opportunity. Mims at his size, it is hard to kick those guys inside, especially he doesn't even have the experience. He needs the reps. He needs the time at tackle. That's something he never got. 803 snaps in his collegiate career, about 25% of his career in true pass sets. The Bengals are going to be putting him out there in those situations about 45% of his snaps. He has a lot of development that's going to need to take place. Good thing is that they don't have to put him on the field right away this year. They can figure it out. They can develop him. They can give him practice reps until it's time. And let's think of the two deep playoff runs. Injuries on the offensive line each time they got there, right?
Mm-hmm.
This gives you a guy as a backup that can secure that position to when you lose a guy, you're still starting a quality player at that position.
Yes. I also just want to let people know the Dolphins have made their selection.
Is it him?
Chop Robinson.
Wow.
Chop Robinson goes to the Miami Dolphins. Daniel, I know that was your guy. I know that was a guy you were excited about. But you know what? I'd be remiss, man, if we didn't talk to my guy, Glenn. Glenn, the Bengals picked already.
Yeah.
We made our pick. What are your Buffalo Bills going to do?
We're the talk of the town here is wide receiver. What are we going to do at wide receiver? That's been the hot button since they traded Stephon Diggs. It was even conversation, when sort of Gabe Davis walked and went to Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
See a couple of names leave early on, which you sort of expected. Some of the rumors were Buffalo could move up into that 8-9 spot and take a Dunze, but there's still some guys available, I think, that might actually fall to them at 28. So we'll see. But Buffalo is also of a mindset sometimes to, take defensive players. And with the defensive players not really going at the top end of this first round, there could be somebody that they valued pretty highly that could fall to them. So we'll see where it goes at this point.
Brandon Beane, their GM, the highest receiver they've drafted is Gabe Davis in the 4th round, right?
Yeah,
man, this is gonna be interesting. Brian Thomas Jr. is still on the board too, so it's gonna be interesting to see what you guys
That's
do.
A name
if you guys could do,
that Brian Thomas Jr. name is a pretty much the second name, biggest name that has been tied with rumors around Buffalo and leading into the draft. So.
Yeah, a lot of people that I talk to that are Buffalo Bills fans and people that even cover the Buffalo Bills, they've been really, really high on Brian Thomas Jr. and thought it was maybe a pipe dream that he'd even be there. I mean, still a lot of picks to go. Still curious to see what might happen. But if you guys could do us a favor, drop some questions down in the comment section for Joe, for Glenn, and we'll get to them. Daniel, I wanna let you go because I know you haven't been able to talk.
No, you're good. Once again, it's nice to see you guys, Joe and Glenn. Nice to see you guys. I've got a question for Joe, right? I think something for the Bengals fans is the fact that this offensive line is huge. And I want you to go a little more in depth in this, right? You got Orlando Brown, 6'7". You got Cordell Volson, 6'7". You got now Amarius Mims, 6'8", 6'7". Trent Brown, 6'7". Why do you think that it is that the Bengals just love big offensive line? And just talk to me a little bit about Amarius Mims' size and why that was a selling point over a guy like Fatanu.
Yeah, well, the first thing to me with Mims is he's probably built like no other offensive tackle I probably have ever seen in terms of a waist that looks like Daniel and I, and maybe even Glenn a couple years ago. But then tree trunk thighs, long arms, crazy wingspan. I mean, just absolutely built in a lab looking. And that's what that's what you'd like to have. And it's funny because guys like Trent Brown and Orlando Brown Jr. are big, listed very similarly, but when they stack up next to each other and the way you see they're built, Mims is going to look like Adonis compared to them, right? It absolutely chiseled. Lowest body fat, I think, on Georgia. And then we're talking about an offensive lineman. So the size, why that works for this offense also. If you're going to be a quick passing offense, there's not enough time to run around the players, right? There's not enough time to run around your blockers. So you're forced as a defender to run through them. So give me the bigger, strongest dudes then and try and run through my guys. And I think that's a sound plan until the Bengals have to move around a little bit and Burrow has to run for his life a little. Then you want the athleticism out there. And at least Mims is an athlete, a super high recruit. He didn't finish all of his testing. He got it hurt while testing, of course, but that'll be the thing we're concerned with and worry about for the rest of his career. But at the same time, it's a rare find to get a guy that big, that athletic, that long.
Completely. We'll get to some of these questions real quick. Our guy Gary Jellison said, talk a little bit about Mims's hand placement and technique. What did you see in the film with mainly his hand placement technique?
So in pass pro, he's fine now already. It's interesting that it's only 800 snaps. It's about a 50-50 run pass rate for Georgia, which you rarely will get in Cincinnati. So we'll have to see when a guy is actually exposed out there a little bit more often if those things start to dip, especially for the big guys that sometimes if they're playing too many snaps. I think he's only got like 6 games where he's played over 50 snaps in his career, in his collegiate career. So we got to check the endurance. He's in great shape, but check the endurance on those things because that's when hand placement starts to slip and fall. I think the technique that really shows up for him as a concern is as a run blocker. Now, you would think a big dude should be a run blocker right away. He has not had enough snaps to be in sync with his offensive line. He has not played enough to be 100% sure on when and where and how he's supposed to get to those blocks. And that's an intricate detail that you need to be when you play a lot and you have a consistent run game. That's how you become a better run blocking team as a whole and individually as a player. And I think that's what he's going to need. So number one, I think technique can always get better, and it will get better in the NFL because he's just not in NFL pass setting situations enough. He's only done it about 99 times in his career, what we call our true pass sets, which means he'll do that in 3 games with the Bengals, 4 games with the Bengals. Yeah. He is there's a long way to go there, but it looks good from what we have so far.
Let me ask you a question, Joe. What do you say to those people that say Amarius Mims doesn't make us better next year?
Your 6th, 7th, and 8th linemen have pretty much ended your season in your 2 deepest playoff runs. It doesn't give you better lining up today. No, maybe he'll get out there as a 6th offensive lineman and help you do those things on 3 snaps per game. Yeah, it doesn't really move the needle. But in January, does it make you better? Yes, because your backup's going to be playing somewhere. Trent Brown has rarely ever made it through a season or given you should expect 55% of the snaps at most for him, right? It to be an honest expectations, which means Amarius Mims is going to play half the year. And into the playoffs, if you get there, if that's what, our goals are being to get there and make a deep playoff run, he will play. But it's also a pick for the next 5 years. And Trent Brown's not going to be here past this year. It was a low-end signing because they needed to fill a position and get a good guy that, honestly, Trent Brown's good. So, if you can get him at that deal, you do it. But the idea here is over the next 5 years, he's your right tackle, and you have that secured past this season.
Understand. Now, let me ask you a question, man. For the Cincinnati Bengals going into round 2, what would you do? What are some ideal targets of guys that you like for the Bengals in round 2?
So 49 has been the hardest one for me to mock, even when I'm doing my own mocks and doing the simulators. You get there and you go, I'd like a corner, but I don't like any of the corners that are there. I'd like a defensive tackle, but they all feel like coin flips, whether it's Chris Jenkins, Ruka Rororo, Braden Fisk, Michael Hall. They're just, I don't feel great about any of them. I'll take them, but I don't, it's not a slam dunk. The only guys I really get to that I feel really good about are attacking the strong interior offensive line class. But once you've already done it at 18, if they went back-to-back O-line, I'd be shocked. It'd be welcomed. I think people would be like, yeah, Cooper Beebe, fine. Zach Frazier, let's do it. But at the same time, I don't expect this team to do it. I expect them to start looking at the trenches on the defensive side, defensive tackle. I don't expect a nose tackle until rounds 4, 5, 6, 7. But an under tackle, a 3-tech that can provide some pass rush juice. There's a bunch of them in this class. I expect that's where they would like to go. But don't write off going off the walls with a receiver or a tight end. If it's Ben Sinnott or Jatavion Sanders, or is it Keon Coleman? Which one of these receivers are still remaining for the Bengals of the second grouping, the second wave? I wouldn't be surprised if they went that direction as well.
Well, let's talk about Keon. Let's talk about Keon Coleman for a little bit. That's Daniel's guy.
Yeah.
And it's not so much Evan's guy. I'm curious, what do you like about him when you turn on the tape?
So he's a guy that's going to need to move into the slot. He could give you some outside versatility, but to me, he's a power slot. He's a big slot. It reminds me of the way he moves, the way he powers guys off the line of scrimmage, or even at the top of his routes, I should say, because he does struggle in press, which is why you'd get him in the slot so he doesn't have to deal with press as much. The way he powers guys at the top of his routes reminds me of TJ Hushmanzada and the way he used to run his routes as well. There would be some development there, because he's only played about 17% of his collegiate snaps in the slot. So it would be something that would be new to him. But I think he is smart enough. He breaks off his routes well enough when there's off coverage, or he sees the coverage and he's like, okay, I got the open zone here. And he looks like he can do it. Number 2, big body, ball skills, catching outside of his frame. That's the T. Higgins stuff in him. To me, that's a valuable asset for Joe Burrow, and you can get that over the middle of the field. And he's one of the youngest players in this class. When we've seen guys that have not tested as well as sometimes what our eyes see on film, they tend to be young guys that aren't grown into their body fully. And I think Keon Coleman, it fits that profile. And you look at the GPS data, it loves him in terms of moving faster than what he tested. So I think he's a guy that has to move in the slot. And if he develops in there, could be a very, very good player.
Daniel, what are some more thoughts that you have for Joe?
Yeah, I think, one thing I kind of want to get your thoughts on, Joe, real quick, that a lot of people are asking real quick. Trading back into the first round. I mean, this is something, obviously, if a guy like Jerzon Newton is there, I truly believe he will be there. Is that something you're looking at of saying, hey, let's give up a future 3rd round pick. Let's give up a future 2nd round pick to move up for Jerzon Newton. Is that something you would do?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I'd go get Johnny Newton, no doubt about it. I'm sorry for my language. That's how strong I feel about it. He's a top 15 player in this class. He didn't get the test. He didn't get to do everything because he broke his foot. Jones fracture is going to scare some teams. But if he's healthy, he is potentially the best defensive player in this class. And what that means is if I feel like he's a top 20 player and I can give up next year's 1st round pick, which I'm hoping is pick 30 to 32, right? Let's be honest. That's what I think if you ask the Bengals, that's what they're hoping it is. And I can swap that and get back into the 1st round and come away with Amarius, Mims, and Johnny Newton. I would 100% sign off on it, and I would give him an A+ grade for doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some strong rating from Joe, man. Joe, tell the people, man, are you pumped as I am for tomorrow's live draft stream? We'll be covering, obviously, round 2 and 3, day 2 of the NFL draft. We'll be joined with, obviously, Dave Lapham, Brad Johansson, Evan, Daniel, Logan. I'm pumped up for it, man. And the reason why I'm pumped up for it is because the Bengals have 3 picks. They have 3 picks to choose from. And Glenn, I'm not letting you off a little easy, man. I got some more questions for you when it comes to your Buffalo Bills, too, my man.
Hey, I'm just hanging out, Malik. I'm good. Whatever.
But tell me, Joe, how excited are you for tomorrow?
I was going to say because they have 3 picks, and then you stole the thunder. Is that all we're excited about? Is the 3 picks? What a boost to the draft process. Remember when we didn't think they were going to get that? I don't think they expected a 3rd round comp pick. And then when it looked like there was an error in the formula, and that came up, pick 97. Man, I'm like, that's either trade material to move up, and get higher in the 2nd or 3rd rounds, or just grab another roll of the dice there with a guy in the 3rd round. And I think the receiver class probably fits them better in round 3 than it does in round 2 from what I'm thinking what will be there. And so I'm excited that we could get a couple more offensive picks. I feel like this is going to be an offensive draft other than that defensive tackle pick that we know is looming.
Yeah, man. I just wonder, where is Johnny Newton going to go?
So the Eagles took Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, the Eagles took Quinyon Mitchell. Very good pick for them, by the way.
I took Quinyon Mitchell in my shadow draft 7th overall, so I'm kind of kicking myself there.
Wow. Somebody said it's Malik's fault. I have no bearing on the Bengals draft. I promise you guys. All I tried to tell you guys were the Bengals weren't going to draft Brock Bowers. That's all I was going to tell you. And a lot of that was because he wasn't going to be there, but
he almost was.
We don't need to talk about it.
They should have traded up. Let's talk about that. They should have given up a 4th round pick or whatever to get up and get Byron Murphy.
Yes. Yes.
He was close enough.
It's what we talk about, man. The Bengals do not. They'll trade up like in the second round, but in the first, they just value those picks so much, man.
You got that extra pick. You had the extra
Right.
pick. You could have said, I got 97. Let me give up 115. Let me give up 97 if that's what it takes to go up and either get Bowers or Murphy. It should have happened. Or
Man,
Wadner,
I was disappointed in that. I was disappointed in that because I thought it was close enough, man. And you mean to tell me one pick before? I mean, it hurts. That stings. But let me ask you this, Joe. At what point would you feel comfortable, or if at all, in the Bengals taking a chance on a guy like T'Vondre Sweat?
So I always thought he was a third-round pick, okay? Anytime you got a guy that is older, has had his ups and downs in college, finally rounding into shape the last year, that sends up red flags. And anytime you have a guy that has weight issues and, like a DeJuan Jones or even Orlando Brown Jr., those guys go in the third round when you don't expect them. They're not going to test very well when guys can't control their weight typically. That screamed third-round pick the whole time to me. And then the DWI happens, and this is right after a visit with the Bengals. And it's like, man, you could not have picked a worse time to make a terrible decision, right? So that's got to drop him a round or two. I think he's off a lot of teams' boards after something like that. There's enough flags on there for people to be concerned that he'll never do anything, right? So I probably wouldn't be interested until 115, which is the fourth-round pick, and really couldn't give them high marks for it unless it was the fifth round.
Glenn, I don't mean to break your heart here.
I'm all over it, Malik.
Brian Thomas?
Yeah.
Man.
You want AD Mitchell anyways.
Jaguars take Brian Thomas Jr., man.
You want AD Mitchell anyways. You're all right.
I'm all right.
Well, is that who you want?
He's for them, they need an X. They need a route runner. They need a guy that can go in there and be their target machine. I don't think Brian Thomas is that. I think he's more of a number 2 wide receiver where AD Mitchell can run the route. He looks like Devontae Adams to me. And like that's what you'd rather have. You'd rather have a Devontae Adams than a T. Higgins. If Brian Thomas Jr. is a 4-4 T. Higgins, I see AD Mitchell as a Adams.
Seeing Xavier Worthy, also a name.
Yeah.
Could be tied.
Well, would you be okay if they drafted Xavier Worthy this early?
I don't know. This is where I feel like if the Bills aren't moving forward and some of these other receivers that, they might like or, thought they would be available at 28 that maybe aren't, they end up going defense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, we really haven't had a chance to talk about it, Glenn, but the Buffalo Bills really removed a lot of pieces from their roster. Obviously, they cut a lot of veterans. What would you like to see from them this draft?
They need to get, some great value from this draft. They need, obviously they were strapped against the cap this year. They're paying a lot of dead money to Diggs still this year. They need guys that can step in and contribute right away on those rookie contracts. And they need to continue to do that over the next few years as they sort of iron out this window that they just left and try to enter this new phase of Buffalo Bills football and still be successful. So we'll see what happens. There's teams like the Kansas City Chiefs that can do pretty well without a big name receiver on their team. And, but they've got Patrick Mahomes. The Bills do have Josh Allen, but, he's a step from Pat. And
I think Dalton Kincaid's going to step up this year.
I agree.
That's going to be the Bills' top target going into this is Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
If they don't, find themselves with a top flight wide receiver, the top 1 or 2 producing receivers this year.
You can get T. Higgins right now. We'll come take Johnny Newton,
Sure.
Literally. I think we'd be on fire for that, but I don't know. Joe, what are some, I don't want to keep you guys too long, and I really do appreciate you guys making time. I know you guys like to watch the draft together. What are some ideal receiving targets that you like for the Bengals in round 2? What are some receiving targets, if any, potentially?
Yeah. So the best one from a data perspective is probably Troy Franklin. I mean, actually, he crushes every single data metric you could possibly use to project a receiver success. And for the Bengals that typically like to draft receivers young and get them while they have young production, I think he checks every box for them, other than weight. But they've tipped under that scale a couple of times, John Ross being one of them. They loved Deshaun Jackson back in the day, and they just didn't end up getting him at that spot. But I think that could be a very similar type of athlete. But Troy Franklin from Oregon, round 2, if he's still there. We've seen some have him late first, early second. We've seen some mocks and projections have him in the 3rd round. So there's a chance he's there at 49. I've already mentioned Keon Coleman.
Right.
After that, would they want just a slot or older prospect in a Ladd McConkey, a Ricky Pearsall? It's not normally what they would draft at that position. They've had strong breakout age type production profiles at receiver. I think in the 3rd round, if it's Jalen McMillan, if it's Javon Baker, if it's Brendan Rice, I think those guys fit with their profile much more. And we're talking about we don't even be a wide receiver 3 at this point. And I think you can get Rice in the slot. I think McMillan could be in the slot. I think McMillan could be a Mohamed Sanu level player. He's more shaped and moves like Boyd. I'm talking like a 600, 700 yard wide receiver 3, which is all they really need right now. But I will say of all those options, one I'm most confident in becoming a very, very good player is Ben Sinnott, the tight end out of K-State. He's got all the odds and data of a tight end 1, and the Bengals really haven't had that in a long time. If they wanted to take him at 49, I would have absolutely no issue with it.
Now, you mentioned a guy earlier that I mentioned a little bit on State of the Jungle War Room, but we didn't go really into detail about him. But talk to me about Ja'Tavion Sanders. What is there to like about him, Joe?
So he's one of the younger prospects in this class. I think that is when you watch him and you watch him move on tape, there are times where I'm like, okay, this guy's fast. And then there's other times he gets caught from behind a bunch. He looks like he's running in a new body, like he's just now filled out. He's just now learning how this body works for him and what he needs to do. He didn't test as well as we would like, but his production profile is super strong from an age-adjusted perspective. Now, you normally want athletes at tight end and you want elite athletes, and he missed those marks, and that stinks. So maybe he's in the profile of a tight end 1 that's a 700, 750 yard receiver in the NFL, which is fine because the Bengals love to have weapons at wide receiver. We're not asking him to be a guy, and I think that's probably why he dropped from round 2 to round 3 projections, is because now he's more of a Jake Ferguson level tight end rather than a tight end 1. But that's fine. If we can get him there at 80, I think I have got no problem with Ja'Tavion Sanders. There's only 4 tight ends I even want in this class. That's Brock Bowers, Ben Sinnott, Ja'Tavion Sanders, and Jaheim Bell.
Wow. Okay. I see a lot of Bengals fans talking about Ben Sinnott. I was recently live with a Bengals fan who was adamant the Bengals need to do everything in their power to go after Kate Stover. When I turned on Kate Stover's film, I just didn't see anything special, if you will. Did
Agreed.
you, Joe? Did you see something completely different from me?
No, I didn't see anything that was even redeemable. I thought he ran like a refrigerator. I thought he moved like a dad. He ran like a dad running a 40, and I would know. He tested better than expected. And his production numbers in terms of making guys miss, which is valuable for a tight end, were actually decent. The profile comes out decent. Like, hey, if you get to 115, even maybe 97, he's a decent shot. He can be maybe a really good tight end too. But on tape, I just could not see anything that I would like. To me, he looked like a 6th rounder on tape. The data says, no, he's probably a little bit better than that. Your eyes may have lied to you. You may have picked 3 games that weren't his best, that he's worth a mid-round shot.
Man, Joe, every single time I talk to you, I feel like I get 10 times smarter. Brother, it's going to be great doing the live stream with you tomorrow. So I don't want to keep you too much. I really appreciate you and Glenn making the time. Glenn,
best of luck.
I'm not going to have
Best
you,
of luck.
whatever pick the Bills make. I'm not going to do that to you and have it on camera. I'm not going to do that to you because I don't know if it's going to go the way you want it to. I'm hoping for you, brother.
Yeah, where are we right now?
Prayer circle for Glenn.
What pick are we on right now?
Wait, what'd you say?
What pick are we on right now? We turned the TV off for a minute.
We're on pick 24
Cowboys.
Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Talk to our buddy Rich.
I'll be texting you. I'll be texting you. But
right.
Glenn, Joe, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us for our round 1 draft stream coverage presented by First Star Logistics. Obviously, we'll be live tomorrow with Joe as we take you guys through day 2 of the NFL draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. But Joe, Glenn, enjoy the rest of the night, man. We appreciate you guys for making the time.
Appreciate you guys.
All right,
Thanks
boys.
for having me.
Of course. See you. Man, this draft is definitely interesting. We've seen defensive guys kind of just, I don't know, fall by the wayside a little bit, man. It was fun having Joe and Glenn on, man, and kind of dissecting some of these picks and dissecting how the next round could go for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's predicting they don't obviously trade up. And we'll be live with you guys through it. Of course, we're not ending yet. We still have more to go throughout the night. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this Bengals live stream. If you guys could do us a huge favor, there ain't no super chats, ain't none of that. The only thing we ask you guys to do is give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We can't do this without you guys. We appreciate you guys always for joining in on the discussion. We have about 700 people in the chat. You guys kick ass. I love Who Dey Nation, man. I love Who Dey Nation. But listen, man, Jerzon Newton is still sitting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Jerzon Newton's still sitting out there. I don't know if that was the Bengals, man. I'd make a phone call, man, see if there's something I could do, man, to make something happen.
So the Lions traded up to the Cowboy spot right now.
Okay, Lions straight up to the Cowboy spot. I wonder if that's for who I think it's for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Lions right now, let me take a look. First off, it was always fun having Glenn and Joe on here. Very, very good talks. I'm curious to see what the Bills do. I think the Bills are gonna do something crazy. I think they could go corner, to be honest. Like they no more Tre'Davious White. I think they can do something that's different than what a lot of people are expecting. But let me just look at the Lions.
The Lions select Terrion Arnold.
Good pick.
Good pick. Yep.
Good pick for the Lions. At the end of the day, to be honest, I'd much rather have Terrion Arnold than a Nate Wiggins, than a Cooper DeJean. Very good pick. I wonder what they gave up to move up 5 spots. In the NFL draft, Malik, as we talked about, go out and get your guys. And Terrion Arnold is a guy, his floor is much higher than anybody else in the cornerback room of the 2024 NFL draft. His technique is super refined. He reminds me of Pat Surtain's technique. And when you look at the cornerbacks on the Lions, that's what they need. They got killed in the playoffs against, the Packers. They got killed in the playoffs multiple times by opposing wide receivers. So cornerback, Detroit Lions, go out and get your guy. There's still some good players on the clock, Malik. Jerzon Newton's still on the board.
Yeah, man. I think Jerzon Newton's a beast, man. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how Amarius Mims obviously grows in the role. And I love what some people said. Obviously, you're probably getting, because anything that you've seen on tape when it comes to Amarius Mims is never concerning. It's just really just the health, all right? And you would like to have seen more. But everything you have seen, you'd be jumping for joy. If Amarius Mims, let's say if he had a more extensive tape, he was more on the field more, he'd probably go top 10.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah, man, I think once the dust settles, I think Bengals fans will start to come around to the pick a little bit more.
Completely. I think we just discussed one thing, and Joe brought it up. The fact that, he only had, I believe, 99 total true pass sets shows just how much he can improve in the future. He only had that's like 3 NFL games worth. So he is extremely raw, which means the fact that he put that stuff good on film is a very good thing for the Bengals. And at the end of the day, I'm kind of sold on the fact you look at the Bengals, 6'7", 6'8", 6'7". Karras is about 6'4". Mims and Brown, 6'7", 6'8". They got a damn big offensive line. So yeah, I'm happy with the total offensive line. But looking at the guys available, Graham Barton's fell down a little bit. Jerzon Newton's still on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry still on the board. You got the 2 receivers, Leggett, A.D. Mitchell. I'm just trying to see if there's any guy that's, honestly, something that I think could happen, Malik. I think Keon Coleman could go to the Bills. And if I'm the Bills, that's something I'm definitely entertaining, because I don't think the gap between A.D. Mitchell and Keon Coleman is a massive gap. A.D. Mitchell is the much more, exciting prospect, if you will. A.D. Mitchell is the guy who showed he could have inside-outside versatility, footwork way better than Keon Coleman. But he's definitely one of the guys. Keon Coleman, I'm a fan of. But there's still a ton of talent on the board for the Bengals. I think it's going to shape up very well for the next round for the Bengals, day 2 tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, once again, drop them down below. Jess Streck said, can Mims play left guard in his rookie season? Most likely not. I mean, there's nothing to be said. That
Zach was non-committal.
Yeah.
Zach was non-committal in his press conference regarding and about his position versatility. He just said he'd have the opportunity to work in at right tackle and left tackle. So, I don't foresee him being a guard, but you never know. I never, you never know. Could that be one big ass offensive line though? If he was that though.
Yeah. And there's nothing to be, once again, like obviously we're projecting, like he's never played at the collegiate level into your offensive line. Who's to say that he can't? So if I'm Zach Taylor and the Bengals, I'm definitely taking a look, see if that's possible. Somebody asked, what happened with Jackson Powers Johnson? Did he get hurt? Something came up with his personality. What happened? In my opinion, I don't think that anything truly came up. I mean, he was really hyped up after the Senior Bowl, had a great Senior Bowl, made the press, made the news. Everybody was talking about him. He was one of the biggest risers. I think this is just a case of the NFL viewing him differently than what fans are viewing him as. I think they're also looking at the interior offensive line depth of Zach Frazier potentially in round 2, of Cooper Beebe in round 2, of Tanner Bortolini in round 3 or round 4, of a Zach Zinter in round 5. The interior offensive lineman class in the 2024 NFL draft is extremely deep, and I'm not super surprised to see Zach or Jackson Powers Johnson fall. And I don't think that this is necessarily him falling a ton. DraftKings had his line, I believe, at 31.5, 32.5. So we could still see him go to the 49ers, go to a team potentially like the Chiefs. So I'm not too shocked that Jackson Powers Johnson fell.
Man, I would love to see the Bengals be aggressive, man, and make a move to try to get John. Because the Ravens pick is still coming up. Yeah. I do not want to see him there. Yep. I do not want to see him there, man. I don't want to see him with the Chiefs. I don't want to see him with the Ravens because I really think he's going to be a really good player. I think, obviously, Byron Murphy, you're looking at it, you're probably saying he has the highest ceiling in this draft out of any defensive lineman. But, man, I wouldn't want to see that, man. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. Yeah, they have the MO, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. They like to hold on to those picks.
And that's what I'm looking at Malik. Like, the difference between Jerzon Newton and the rest of these guys in the next 20 tier, I think Jerzon Newton's far better than all these guys. I mean, we're talking about guys like Braden Fisk. We're talking about guys like Marshawn Nealon, Western Kentucky. They're fine. They're good prospects, but we're talking about Jerzon Newton, who we were discussing him for 18. We're discussing Jerzon Newton once again. It boils down to this. I look at offensive coordinators game plan around Jerzon Newton. Offensive coordinators double team Jerzon Newton. I want a guy that can wreck a defense like Jerzon Newton did at Illinois. And Malik, as we're coming up on this, I would 1,000% be definitely entertaining it. Will the Bengals? We don't know. I mean, I think we kind of know if they will or not. But you're looking at these picks like Cowboys at 29. Who's to say? So
yeah, everybody can't make your roster, right? So like holding on the picks and hoarding them doesn't make a lot of sense for me. I think the opportunity to get aggressive and get better is something that, man, you'd have to hope that they'd be in on, man. The Packers select Jordan Morgan, tackle from Arizona. He sneaks into the first round. So offensive linemen are going, man. Offensive linemen are going. And this is sort of what we talked about. Yeah, man. I don't know.
Jordan Morgan's a guy where when I watched him, he was a highly touted guy last year. He was widely regarded as a top 20 pick last year. Dealt with some injuries out of Arizona. I thought he was fine. I thought his film looked good. He's got the size. I think his feet were great, but it just didn't show like he was physically as imposing as these other offensive tackles, like, Tyler Guyton, who's an extremely great athlete, like Graham Barton, who was way more productive at the college level than Jordan Morgan. But this is a spot where the Packers definitely went for need, for sure. Like, they definitely went for need. You got to build your offensive line. I believe David Bakhtiari is no longer on their team anymore. So Packers, good fit for the need. Remains to be seen how good he will be year one. But Jordan Morgan was a guy, once again, I look at, he was a top 20 pick last year, widely regarded as that before his injury. Jordan Morgan, good pick for them. And the next couple picks we got, I believe the Bills are coming up soon. You got the Buccaneers.
Well, you got the Buccaneers, Arizona Cardinals, and then Bills, right? 28.
The Cardinals are a spot where I'm definitely looking at. They're picking a lot of guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they went Jerzon Newton, to be honest. Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. I could see Tampa. I could see Tampa going Jackson Powers Johnson here. Marissa, our producer, talked about that earlier today because I know she loves her praise. And she talked about that earlier today, obviously with the retirement of Ryan Jensen. That would make a lot of sense.
That's right.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
I hate to be this guy.
No.
If the Bills came calling and they said we want T. Higgins, And we'll give you our first. Would you do it?
Yeah.
Part of this, listen, part of this, I have to talk about because it's an elephant right now that I'm being asked. I'm seeing people text. Man,
let's have this conversation. T. Higgins on the roster. This
wait,
year.
hold on. Alpina. I don't think anybody's upset with the Mims pick. You must have not been paying attention. We talked about extensively about it. We went through the ebbs and flows. We understand why Bengals fans are upset with it. I'm not understanding your angle at all right now, where you said we are upset about Mims pick. I think we've been quite positive about the Mims pick. We've tried to calm the storms of people being upset. So I would just relax about that, because we were never one to throw pitchforks when it came to it. We were trying to understand the thought process behind it. And what we came away saying is it made sense. Yeah. It made sense. It made sense why the Bengals did it. You don't want to reach in the later rounds. You have to have an answer for the tackle spot of the future. That's all we're saying. So I'll leave it at that.
1000%. And our reaction, we were just discussing every other prospect. We like some of the other prospects that were on the board. I think it's fair to discuss every other prospect. Going back to your question, if the Buffalo Bills called me and I'm the Bengals GM, first off, let me just say this. It's in the Bills' best interest to call the Bengals. I would much rather have T. Higgins than a Keon Coleman, than an A.D. Mitchell. Not to say that A.D. Mitchell can't be there, but if I'm the Bills, I'm in a win now mode now. And I think T. Higgins keeps their Super Bowl window open. I think T. Higgins helps them out a ton. If the Bills GM calls me, the conversation I'm having is, hey, is T. Higgins going to be on my roster this season? Is he happy to be on my roster? Are we going to extend him? First off, if the answer is we're not extending him, okay, let's have this conversation, because if we're not going to extend him, we're getting a 1-year rental. We're going all in to just say this year. I have the conversation, Malik. And I have the conversation for two reasons. Because of a guy like Jaden Daniels on the board, who is a potential franchise-changing defense tackle, and an A.D. Mitchell or a Keon Coleman. And my explanation for that and how I can justify that to myself, Malik, is I think A.D. Mitchell and Keon Coleman can be a T. Higgins potential replacement if it doesn't work out. So yes, if the Bills called me and said, hey, we want T. Higgins, I would 1000% entertain it. That does not mean I think that T. Higgins won't be on the roster. That does not mean I don't think T. Higgins is good. But A.D. Mitchell or a Jaden Newton?
No, if we're doing that, it's because you have Jaden Newton insights. That's why I would do that.
So how would you replace T? Round 2?
Well, I don't even want. I was more so asking questions because people are. That's the discourse right now on social media.
Oh yeah,
amongst Bengals fans, they were asking that question. So the Bills came calling, and Bills fans are begging right now on Twitter, "Hey, please do it, please do it, please." That's the reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, so that's where. But once again, if for the Bengals fans that are asking the question, you have to ask yourself, how are you replacing T. Higgins? Because if your answer to replacing T. Higgins is a 2nd round pick that we're not sure who it's going to be, well, what are we talking about? Is a 3rd round pick? You would have to be very confident that you have a T. Higgins replacement or a guy that you can say, hey, he's a potential wide receiver 2 in round 2 that we're going to want. So that's how I would say is, hey, if I'm even entertaining T. Higgins, I would need to look at somebody that's saying, hey, round 2 that I love or round 1 that I love for wide receiver.
Absolutely. Let's keep looking at what's going on right now. They said the pick is in. Graham Barton is a Buccaneer.
Graham Barton's a
Buccaneer.
Good pick.
I'm not clapping, but
I think that's a good pick.
For him, yeah, for sure. But I'm not clapping. I mean, it is what it is. But Graham Barton, he should be good next to the booking tackle, with Tristan Wirfs. So, man, good spot. Spot.
I think that's a good spot for them. At the end of the day, you look at the talent that's still on the board. It's Jaden Newton was there, but besides that, Graham Barton fits a need for them. I'm a fan of that pick for them.
What are some more defensive guys left on the board for the Bengals? I'm thinking about the later rounds now.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm definitely here with you. Defensive guys on the board.
And by the way, I just want to sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry, Daniel. I apologize.
No, you're good.
We have about 600 people in the chat. If you guys give this video a like, we only have 129 likes on this video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, guys. We're live every single Wednesday for State of the Jungle presented by First Star Logistics, and we're unveiling our new studio tomorrow, and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. Bigger, better than ever. We always look to push the envelope and do things big here at First Star Logistics, and I'm really, really pumped up for you guys to see it. But make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, not only our YouTube channel, but First Star Media Group YouTube channel. and as well as Dave Lapham's YouTube channel as well, to keep up to date with everything that we're doing, because we're going to bring in content to you guys all throughout the off season. It doesn't just stop at the draft. I feel like there is no off season. It's always something happening. So, yeah, man. Daniel, continue. I apologize about that.
No, you're good. If you guys are watching this, drop down your comments on who's a guy that you definitely want for round 2, round 3. But let me just go through some of these names for some of my favorite guys still left on the board. Talked about Jerzon Newton. The defensive tackle position, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm looking at Dwayne Carter. Dwayne Carter's a guy, I'm looking round 3, round 4. He was a team captain at Duke. He's a guy who is extremely productive, played the 3 tech position. He's about 300 pounds, 6'2". So he's not extremely big. He's not extremely long arms, but extremely productive at the collegiate level. He played the 3 tech. He played edge rusher at times. He showed the ability to play nose tackle. And my favorite thing about him, and this is a trend that I absolutely love, if you can show me your production in pressures as well as batted passes are one of my favorite stats because they wreck games. You look at teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they've done to the Cincinnati Bengals. You look at opposing defensive tackles like Chris Jones. That's how you wreck games. And Dwayne Carter was, I believe, top 5 in this class of defensive tackles in total batted passes. So huge fan of him. Another guy that I definitely like is a Leonard Taylor in round 4, specifically round 3, round 4. Amazing size. I mean, length is great. He showed the ability to play 3 tech. He's versatile. He showed the ability to play the edge rusher position as well. You're betting on potential more with him. He wasn't super productive at the college level, but we're talking prototypical size, and he showed the versatility. And he's a guy extremely long arms. I'm a fan of Leonard Taylor, and I'm sure everybody's heard at nauseating pace. T'Vondre Sweat, round 4, definitely going to be looking at him. And Michael Hall is a guy where, hey, you're going to be betting on potential with him. He is young, so I don't necessarily know if I want to double up on 2 guys that are potential based in Amarius Mims and Michael Hall. But Michael Hall's film that he put out, his pass rush win rate, his ability to he was one of the fastest players on the field. We're talking, a dominant pass rusher. He disappeared at times. I 1000% agree with that. But Michael Hall is a guy where I saw him absolutely obliterate interior offensive linemen. I saw him go head to, toe-to-toe with Joe Alt, one of, the top 5 pick in this year's draft. So Michael Hall is quick. He's athletic. He's versatile. And he's only 20 years old. So those are the defensive tackles that I'm a fan of. And if I were the Bengals, Malik, I'm not leaving day 2 without at least one of those guys with my 3 picks.
I hear you, Daniel. I understand. I just don't. Like I said, I guess the defensive tackle spot in the second round, you don't feel like you need to reach on anything. They do need to grab a defensive tackle at some point. We do like some of the guys like Dwayne Carter later in the draft, right? And this is the spot that we kind of talked about. But I do say that if it gets deeper in this first round and Jerzon Newton continues to slip, you got to start to try to work those phones, man. You got to at least try. Yeah. And not, he falls. Does he fall to the second round? Does he?
I don't think so.
So, I mean, like
the way I'm looking at this, if he does, I'm making phone calls tonight. But to be honest, like, I don't see, if they don't make a phone call at pick 31 to the 49ers.
What would you give up? Let's talk there. What would you give up to go up and get a Jerzon Newton?
Give up next year's first.
What? No, absolutely not.
Why not? If this is pick number 31, and you're assuming the Bengals are going to be deep in the playoffs, because I'd rather
why not give up your second and one of your thirds?
They won't do that.
But why would they give up a first?
I'm saying I don't think the 49ers would accept that, a second and a third. I don't think so. I think you'd have to give up more than that. I would, if you're saying, hey, if we can give up this year's second and one of our 3rd round picks, I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't think the Niners do that. I don't think so. Maybe you give up I don't think the Niners would do that. Maybe that's how you start the conversation. And I think you'd have to give up maybe 2 seconds, to be honest. 2 seconds or a first. And I think that's where the conversation
People said
is.
Daniel is no longer the GM. He's cut off.
Hey, well, listen, if we're having the conversation, I'm telling you guys, they would not a deal would not get done without 2 seconds and a first.
The Cardinals
or
select
first.
Darius Robinson, 27th overall.
Edge rusher. Yeah.
What do the Bills do here? What if the Bills went there?
Yeah,
I mean, they've been trying to beef up that defensive line, right? I mean,
I feel like you have to go wide receiver, corner.
yeah, you have to.
I
But
mean,
who? AD Mitchell? Is AD Mitchell here?
AD Mitchell, Keon Coleman. I doubt they go Xavier Worthy. I think that would be a bad pick if they went Xavier Worthy. Because, I mean, who do you got? You got Khalil Shakir, who all Bills fans were raving about. Khalil Shakir was a very, very good number 2 option for the Bills last year.
Man.
Lad McConkey is a extremely productive guy. But it's probably between AD Mitchell and Keon Coleman if we're talking wide receiver ones.
Yeah. People say, get on the phone, Duke.
Yeah.
Get on the phone. Man, we got a couple more picks left in the first round. How we feeling, though?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I mean, listen, like, I'm not expecting a trade up. I think we're just got to wait till tomorrow, sadly. But, I mean, at the end of the day, listen, this was a pretty expected pick for the Bengals. And the way that the board has fallen, there really isn't any crazy guys that are falling to day 2 right now. I mean, Jerzon Newton is probably the best guy, but everybody else that's on the board, like, I'm looking at Nate Wiggins. Some people have him as a first-round pick. I think he's borderline. Kool-Aid McKinstry's borderline. I think this was a pretty, chalk draft as far as the best talent win in the first round. I truly believe that. I don't think anybody's really fallen except Jerzon Newton. The rest of these guys, Cooper DeJean was a guy who was completely hyped up. I don't think that he was ever going to be a top 20 pick. So with the way that the board has fallen, you're going to have your pick at a talented guy around 2. That's what I'm excited about. There's a lot of corners still on the board, Malik. There's wide receivers still on the board. If I were to make a prediction right now, I think the Bengals will go. They'll have some talented corners.
Somebody said Bills. What if the Bills went Lad McConkey?
Lad's a potential. I think that would not be a bad pick because he comes in and he is extremely productive. He's one of the best. I would go as far as saying he is the best route runner in this year's draft. I'm a huge fan of him.
Bills trade?
Did they?
Do we know to who?
Stop this.
Bills.
No,
Apparently,
there's
Bills
just a lot
trade.
of local Bills media saying that they
Yeah,
actually
Bills.
traded the pick.
Bills trade. That's confirmed.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Bills have traded. We just don't know with who yet. Bills. I mean, this is suspenseful.
Yo,
Ooh.
come on. Please, just give me. I mean, I'm just not going to say anything.
Man. The Bills fan, the producer Marissa, was able to tell us that the Bills have traded. Marissa, do you know who they've traded with?
Okay, let's clarify that. Not a Bills fan. And it is
Wait,
the
is this
Chiefs.
confirmed that?
It is the
Yeah.
Chiefs moving up.
The Chiefs moved up. The Bills trade with the Chiefs.
Bro, this is going to be
Wow.
Jerzon Newton.
It is.
Or a wide receiver.
It's going to be one of them.
How the Bills trading with the Chiefs?
Chiefs. Yeah.
What are we?
Yeah. Well, who do we think the Chiefs are trading up to get? And what do you think they gave up? Obviously, they probably gave up their first because probably swapped.
They
but-
probably gave up the first and maybe a fourth, to be honest. I mean, because they moved up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots.
Yeah.
First and a fourth. If I had to guess with the Rashee Rice stuff going on, I think they went up for AD Mitchell. If I were to make a guess, I mean, because they got Marquise Brown, so I think that kind of fills the role of a Xavier Worthy. I think it's going to be AD Mitchell, and I think his speed and his potential that's going to kill with the Chiefs, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get Jerzon Newton there too, that defensive line. But if I were to guess with this whole Rashee Rice stuff going on, the Chiefs cover their ass with the wide receiver and AD Mitchell.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense.
The Bills probably just weren't confident in these wide receivers.
What if they drafted Tyler Guyton?
Yeah. I mean, because the right tackle was rough last
I mean, their tackles were, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've already invested a lot of money in the offensive line. Just wonder.
Graham Barton's gone.
Yeah.
Who's their center?
No, man, their center is the guy they drafted, Creed Humphrey.
Oh, yep. Interior offensive line's good, yep. Trey Smith's still there.
Yeah, they're in a good spot interior. They still got Joe Tooney, so it would have to be right. The idea would have to be
Tackle.
tackle or receiver. AD Mitchell, I think, makes a lot of sense. Which is weird, right? Because it makes you wonder: did the Bills actually value AD Mitchell? If you know they're going up, or maybe the Bills love everybody that is still on the board, and they're like, hell, you know what? The Chiefs jump us for a guy that makes our decision a lot easier. I don't know.
Man, no, I think the Bills were caught between a rock and a hard place, to be honest. Was it in?
Xavier Worthy.
Wow.
Xavier Worthy.
Well, shit.
Xavier Worthy is a Chief. Man, is he the Tyreek Hill replacement that they've been longing for?
Man.
I mean, are we upset about that?
I think that's good.
It's a very good pick, 100%.
Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy. We're talking speed. If Rashee Rice, his whole thing is not, I'm sure it's bad if they're drafting, but if it's not, Xavier Worthy is, let me just say this, he is an absolute stud. His only concerns is, what team does he go to? He's not going to be a wide receiver one on a team with a quarterback that's struggling, with a team like a quarterback like an Anthony Richardson, for example, with a young quarterback. With Patrick Mahomes, you can scheme him open. It shows, obviously, I'm sure Kadarius Toney, they have a specific mold of guys that they want.
What? I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the next pick. What if the Cowboys draft Tyler Guyton here?
Offensive line.
Think so?
I would go offensive line. I mean, because what else?
He's you're right. He's from Oklahoma, right? I don't know.
I mean, because I wouldn't. Yeah, you got your corners already.
It just feels like Jerzon Newton is staring the Ravens down a barrel right now.
Jesus.
It's terrible. But what if they go corner? They've had issues at corner. Right? Then maybe they go defense. I don't know.
Really, really good.
But he's already taken. He got taken by the Eagles. So, but we never know, because the Bills are always looking to, What do you think, Daniel?
I'm just curious where Newton's going to go. I think he may fall.
I think we're all holding on to our seats, scared, terrified, worried that Jerzon Newton, might. Yeah, man.
I mean, if we
because the Bills are pick 32, the Bills are more than likely going to get a receiver.
Yep.
Will they go Troy Franklin?
Troy Franklin's a good pick. I mean, AD's still here. Yeah. Troy Franklin.
But do you really value AD knowing that you could miss him, right? But Troy Franklin, I said James Franklin. Troy Franklin is a guy that has been talked about potentially in the second round. So does he? I don't know. Just my thoughts.
And see, this is where you got a bunch of these guys I think are all in the same tier. Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, AD Mitchell. I think all four of those guys are in the same tier. Man, I'm just concerned because I look at the Ravens and I look at the 49ers, both of them with dominant defensive lines. The Ravens obviously signed Justin Amadabuke. But besides that, I mean, they got Michael Pierce and that's it. Jerzon Newton with them. And you look at the 49ers as well. I mean, you got Nick Bosa on one side. Could they go into your defensive line after, letting go of Eric Armstead?
We're praying. We need a prayer circle right here. Holy Spirit, activate. We need that right now because, we need to make sure that Baltimore does not hurt us with this.
Yeah, tackle room is pretty solid, but the interior of our offensive line is, quite frankly, a couple question marks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Marissa, what are your thoughts? I want to hear from you. But put the camera on Daniel, not me.
So, with the Bills, I mean...
You are a residential Bills fan. I'm kidding. Just go.
Of course. I don't know. I think Mitchell would be better because you look at Stephon Diggs, what he brought. Yes, he had speed and separation down the field, but at the same time, Mitchell is a bit of a bigger build. And when you look at,
what if? Hear me out for a second. What if the Ravens go Jackson Power Johnson?
I mean, do they have Linderbaum?
They do, but it still boosts the interior of the offensive line. Put him at guard.
Zach Frazier? Could he go high?
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the draft, man.
Riss, you were still talking wide receivers, Bills.
Yeah, I just see AD Mitchell being a bit of a better fit for that offense. Yes, they do need speed down the field, but at the same time, also I look at them bringing in Curtis Samuel, and I think that they view him as like the guy that they can get in the slot a lot more, a guy that they can open up the field with his speed and utilize that. And I just think that AD Mitchell brings a lot more of that like contested catch ability that they'd be missing now that they traded Stephon Diggs.
I'm with you. I think they got to go an outside wide receiver. I think Keon Coleman, AD Mitchell, because at the end of the day, you also, if you're the Bills, you got to go now to win. Like you're still talking, your window is now. So,
Yeah.
some people are saying, what's Dallas's pick? Is that in yet? Dallas, not in yet. Some people are saying Guyton.
Yeah, that's what we kind of talked about. We talked about the potential of that because it makes sense. Patrick Mahomes tweeted out he's happy.
Damn right he's happy.
Yeah, so
I mean, when you look at the Chiefs, good for them. I mean,
Dallas could go JPJ, couldn't they? Yeah. Who was their center before? Who was Dallas's center?
not Zach Martin. It was
Zach Martin's their guard.
Oh no, I think they just got it was right now it's Brock Hoffman.
Who? Right.
Don't ask. Yeah. But it was I know
I forgot who it
about.
was.
He was they drafted him, and
Yeah.
I believe he probably left in
He
free agency
retired.
this year. Or he retired?
Frederick.
Travis Frederick?
Man, what was his name? Man. Can you guys put it in the comment section who Dallas's center was? The one who was an absolute beast. He retired. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Somebody said Wisconsin. Oh yeah, I think it was Frederick.
And then they also had Tyler. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Biadias.
Oh,
who went
yes.
to the
Biadias.
Commanders and followed Dan Quinn.
Okay. Yeah.
So interior offensive line.
Yeah.
I think that's a much bigger need than going with the Tyler Guyton. Give me a JPJ.
Travis Frederick. That's who his name was. Yeah.
Give me JPJ or give me Zach Frazier. 1,000%.
Cowboys are taking offensive tackle Tyler Guyton.
Wow. All right. Build the O-line.
So
It's a good pick for them.
yeah.
I mean, trade it back. Tyler Guyton wasn't really going to go ahead of anybody. It's cleared the Packers.
Who are the Niners defensive tackles?
It is
What's their depth chart looking like on the defensive side?
defensive tackles. You got Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
Malik Collins is their defense tackle, and Javon Hargrave.
Mhm.
So you got Collins and Hargrave, and then you got Bosa on one side. So those are the two defense tackles. Malik Collins, they just signed, I believe, this year. Javon Hargrave and Jordan Elliott, who's a depth piece, 3rd-round pick a couple years ago. I think they'll go into your offensive line.
Who?
49ers. I mean, look at so you got Trent Williams, you got Colton McVitz, and then their centers right now is currently Jake Brendel. You got John Feliciano still there, but he's definitely, I believe he's about like 33. Aaron Banks is a young guy. Maybe JPJ or Zach Frazier here. But at the same time, who's best player available? It's those two, or it's our boy, Johnny Newton. So we'll see. A cornerback could be. I mean, they got Travarius Ward, but it's looking kind of slow for the cornerbacks. Could they go? There's still some really good cornerbacks.
Who are some corners?
Nate Wiggins.
Yeah, because you figure Marlon Humphrey's been in and out of the lineup with an injury, right?
For the Ravens.
For the Ravens.
Yes. So he's been
Andrew Miller, 100%, brother.
What do you say?
Definitely need coffee at this point. Yeah, it's been the longest stream I've ever done.
How long have we been?
3 hours and 23 minutes. 3 hours 23 minutes. And judging how this draft is going, still we might break the 4-hour mark.
Yeah, looking at corner, you got Marlon Humphrey, you got Brandon Stevens. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So corner, Nate Wiggins. This is what I hate, though. The Ravens always do so well because they just take best player available, and they're always in a spot that they can get the best player available. Like
now, who's their guy next to Matabike?
You got Broderick Washington and Michael Pierce.
Makes sense.
But Michael Pierce is a little older.
Kevin K, where are you, man? He said it's 4:30 a.m. here. Where are you, brother?
So where are we? 11:30. Yeah, you must be somewhere.
Yeah, brother, where are you?
Damn.
Yeah, Misfit 85. No, I'm sorry. Malcolm William asked, Malik, you going to be streaming tomorrow? Yes. The First Star Logistics new studio will be unveiled tomorrow. We'll be doing round 2 and 3 from there with Joe Goodberry, Dave Lapham, Brad Johansson, myself, Evan, Daniel, Logan. It's going to be an all-star studded cast, man. We're excited for it, pumped up for it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as long as you have, man. You know, we're pretty excited to see how the rest of this draft kind of like falls out. But man, yeah, our draft coverage continues, man. I might even be going live for the the fourth, maybe the fourth and fifth round, maybe just the fourth round. I haven't decided just yet. We'll figure it out as we go. It just competes with UFC. And as you guys know, I'm always on the UFC stuff, the UFC train. So I guess I'll take the time to announce this right now while we're here. Starting next week, the Right Bet will be back. The Right Bet will be back. So for all of you out there that like to make some money, man, we'll be back with the Right Bet, man. We'll be back here in our in-home studios doing the Right Bet, and we'll be giving you guys daily picks, especially the NBA playoffs in the thick of things. Daniel and I are excited for it. So hopefully you guys enjoy hearing us talk because we got a lot more happening. So
I mean, Malik, just talk about the Right Bet a little bit. I mean, we're talking NBA playoffs. We got a whole bunch of different content, UFC content. Also, one of my personal favorites that I feel like you guys will also appreciate, NFL futures is something, even though you may not be betting those, I personally just love looking at win totals. I love looking at awards, whether it's MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, division winners, all those future, NFL bets.
Ravens take cornerback Nate Wiggins. Thank you, Ravens. Thank you, Ravens.
He's good, though.
Thank you for not taking Newton.
He's good.
Thank you for not taking Newton.
Yep.
Yeah. Ravens ran right to the podium. They knew who they wanted. They didn't even think about it. So the Ravens got their guy. So we've got San Fran. We've got Buffalo. And we're watching.
I think he might fall.
Let's see.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, if I'm the Bengals, am I waiting? If we're having a serious conversation, yes,
I'm smiling right now.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. Let me just smile for a second.
What you smiling about?
Jerzon Newton did not become a Raven.
Yes.
That would have been an absolute nightmare. Jerzon Newton did not become a Raven.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate, Bengals fans. If you are where you are right now, let's freaking clap it up. Jerzon Newton is not a goddamn Raven, and I'm happy about it. Sorry.
No, you're good. I hope he's not a 49er either, to be honest. I know it's not in division, but.
No. I don't, at the point, if he goes to the Niners, whatever, okay. Just don't be a Raven. Just don't be a Raven.
Yeah.
Because that would have once again made me, like, thank you. We appreciate it. Nate Wiggins is getting cooked by Jamar Chase. He's getting cooked. Thank you. Man.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
I do have a question
Whew.
for you, Malik and Marissa. If you guys will let me ask you a little question.
Give him a mic.
Question.
Let's see. The people
Come
can't
on.
hear you, so we got to give you the mic.
Or, Rich, you can. Yeah, you can use this one. Honestly.
I just have a little question for Daniel, Malik, and potentially Marissa. So say the Bengals are looking at wide receiver tomorrow, maybe round 2, maybe round 3. What are some potential guys you would look at and be like, that's a good fit? Not only just as a talent, but like specifically for the Bengals. What would you look for?
Want me to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even thinking about wide receiver right now, man. I'm on Jerzon Newton watch, but I hear you.
Wide receiver, to answer your question, there's a ton of guys out there. I've got a couple guys. Let's see how the board falls. I'm a huge Roman Wilson fan. I think Roman Wilson steps in. Obviously, a little bit of his pro comp is like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amazing hands, great route running. You look at the stats, maybe wasn't the most productive, but it's because Michigan didn't throw the ball a ton. And for me, if I'm looking at a wide receiver, I want consistency. I want a dude who I know, hey, he can go up and grab a ball as well. He's very good in the 50-50. Maybe not, because of his size, 6'3". I like Roman Wilson. And I really like Keon Coleman, to be honest. I think Keon Coleman in round 2, I think that's a very good value versus a round 1. Keon Coleman, once again, our guy, Joe Goodberry, talked about him a little bit too. His potential is off the charts. I saw what he did at Florida State. His ability to, first off, go up and grab a ball. I think his athletic profile is off the charts. He's ability, to go on the outside. He's 6'3". He can play on the outside. He can play on the inside. Those are the two guys that I would be definitely penciling in and saying, hey, I would love if the Bengals got them. And Malik, just looking back at, right now, Jerzon Newton, how do you view this? Obviously, Jerzon Newton is on the board. Are you looking to trade up? Let's say it ends and day 1's over and Jerzon Newton's on the board. How early are you looking to trade up? And how likely do you think it is? So 2-part question. What would you do and how likely do you think it is?
Bengals just value those goddamn picks, man. But if you like Jerzon Newton, who I know that they did like, you got to, this is a guy you were considering at 18, right? Like, it's a no-brainer to me. But again, you got to deal in Bengal reality, not our reality.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part about this conversation, to be honest. It's just like Jerzon Newton, I think we can already kind of pencil in, at least I'll pencil in. If he falls out of round 2, potentially one of the steals of the draft. I'm just going to say that I think
we've got about 600 people in the chat. If you guys could do us a favor, give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Only currently have 170 likes on the video. We've been live for almost 4 hours. We greatly appreciate if you guys can support the channel just by giving this video a like and subscribing. We appreciate you.
Completely. And once again, guys, this is not the only live stream that we've got going on. We will be live tomorrow on this channel as well as the First Star Logistics channel. So excited for all our content. Man, we've been live for 3.5 hours. Yeah, doesn't even seem like it, but crazy first round.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Completely. So just looking at this, 49ers are on the clock. I think they'll go into your offensive line.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But they could also, they could do it.
If they pick them, this is once again the back end of the first round where you just get talent. Jerzon Newton.
What if they went A.D. Mitchell? With the whole situation with Ayuk and that's weird going on.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
That's a very good pick for them. At that point, then you would have to really say, hey, Brandon Ayuk's out the door. If you're taking him. You could have, Ayuk and Debo and AD on the roster, but at that point, you're pretty much saying, hey, Brandon Ayuk, contract's not working. Let's figure something different out for you. And this is the part, Malik, they could go best player available. They can go AD Mitchell. They can go Jerzon Newton. This is the beautiful part about the end of the first round.
You always sit around waiting, and it's always a trade that happens at the end of the first round. Yep. Always happens where you're like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then something happened and you trade. So somebody said Cooper DeJean is a good fit for the Niners.
Ooh, cover 3 scheme.
Yeah. They always have issue at corner too.
That's a very good. I like that. I like him. Even I like Kool-Aid McKinstry. Definitely Cooper DeJean definitely fits Cooper DeJean. Probably pronouncing it wrong. But he definitely fits a 49er scheme way better than a Kool-Aid McKinstry. And cornerback is definitely one of their biggest needs. So you got best player available. You got Cooper. You got Jerzon. You got AD Mitchell. Bro, you can go anywhere. You can go into your offensive line. Man,
the 49ers are sure taking a long time on this clock.
I would be too, to be honest. I think it's...
The 49ers select Cooper DeJean.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who called that? Who called that?
It wasn't me.
Cover 3. They said Cooper.
Oh, I said cover 3, but I thought someone in the chat said it. But yeah, it makes sense. Good for them.
Yeah.
One last pick, right?
Right there, man. Yeah.
Buffalo.
One last pick. Buffalo, seeing where they go.
I think you got to go wide receiver here, but.
Man, please don't say that. Don't wish that. That's bad juju, man. It's been a wild first round. One of the wildest ones since I've been covering the NFL, man. I got to be honest with you. It's just the amount of quarterbacks. Do you wonder? Sometimes I wonder when teams make a call, do they eventually be like, after like an hour, like, damn, we overthought that pick.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider how the way the board shapes up. Do they think to themselves like, man, we did not have to do that?
I think there's a lot of teams, definitely. I think a lot of it is the quarterbacks. I think the Broncos and the Falcons definitely. I mean, we saw what came out about Kirk Cousins' age and what he said, how, obviously wasn't expecting it. I think there's a lot of teams that are definitely happy. Like a team like the Bengals, I don't think the Bengals are even second questioning it. But a team like the Denver Broncos, in my mind, maybe Sean Payton's not, but in a week, in 2 weeks, I definitely would be. Man. Someone said, I heard the Bills are interested in Newton. I don't know, man. Once again, I think that you've got a ton of talent. Looking at the Bengals.
Whoa. Switch up.
What?
The 49ers took Ricky Pearsall, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers?
Yeah. Wow. Switch up.
Little bit of a reach for sure. I would definitely say, listen, like Ricky Pearsall, he's another guy that I covered at Arizona State.
This draft is crazy, man.
This
draft is crazy. What?
What?
This is the guy Ricky Pearsall we were talking about in the second round, like, right? And now he's in the first.
Let me just say,
Bills completely pivoted.
Wait,
We saw a couple of beat reporters from.
Wait, the Bills took it?
Huh?
Or who?
No, the whatchamacallit?
Niners.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. Niners.
Okay. Yeah, that's what. Man, what the hell?
Yeah, man.
Let me just say, I think.
Wait, why did he go before AD Mitchell?
This is a Kyle Shanahan pick, 1,000%. Ricky Pearsall is. AD Mitchell is the potential. Ricky Pearsall, you are betting on. Hey, he showed it. He showed his route running precise, his ability to be precise. AD Mitchell, you're betting on the potential. I think that they're looking at Ricky Pearsall as a dude. He is stepping in day one, and he's a 5-year college starter. He played at Arizona State.
Apparently, the Bills are trading back again.
Really? Good for them. I think that's a good move on them.
But who, though? But who?
I can't do this.
Man. This draft is crazy. The Panthers are coming up.
Panthers?
1 pick to 32 with the Bills. This was reported by Jordan Schultz. So the Panthers trade up, apparently.
Leggett or Newton? It'll be one of them too.
Why would they take Newton, you think? They already have Derek Brown.
Yeah. Just BPA. I'm with you. I mean, hold on. What about edge rushers? Is there any?
Man, this draft is crazy. Yeah, man.
I think it's probably a wide receiver.
Yeah, that could make sense.
Because, I mean, they didn't have a first-round pick. I mean, if you're the Panthers, you're feeling anxious.
I'm imagining the Bills had the first pick in the second round, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to think so.
You've got to. Because, I mean.
Man, I feel for Glenn, man.
Yeah, you waited all day.
Waited all day, man.
I think it's a smart move for the Bills, though, because you got so many wide receivers still on the board. You got McConkey. You still have AD Mitchell. You still have Keon Coleman. I think it's okay. It sucks that you're not getting a pick here. I think this is the difference in franchises, to be honest. The Panthers are a franchise that they need instant gratification now. They need to go now. And the fact that you're sitting on day one, you don't have a single pick, you're missing out on the fun. And they're looking at these guys. You can't wait a whole nother day. Go out and get your guy. If you're going to get him tomorrow, go get your guy now. If I were to make a prediction, I think it's going to be Xavier Leggett.
Xavier Leggett?
Yeah, I think they go wide receiver.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. I mean, they got to get a receiver. They got to get some receiver help in there for their guy. Man, this has been a crazy first round. Usually the first round it's kind of boring at times because like it's not like a lot of movement or sometimes things kind of fall short. But this one was very exciting. This is everything you'd hope for in the draft, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got the quarterback controversy we were talking about, Michael Penix Jr. And at the end of the day, when you look at the way the board fell for the Bengals, you had as much talent as you could have asked on there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not Byron Murphy, I get it. You had so much talent on the board. That is the best possible scenario, besides having a Byron Murphy there, but that's one of the best realistic scenarios there. You have your franchise tackles there, potentially. You have a defensive tackle there, and you have a star edge rusher there. And the board fell the best possible way. So I'm definitely shocked at the way the beginning of the first round played out.
Jordan Schultz is reporting Xavier Legette is a Panther.
All right. Round 1, completely over.
Yeah, man. I want to know. Wait. So what did the Bills give up, or what did they acquire? Those acquire 141st pick. What? So, this can't be right? I mean, they have to have gotten more.
Not if they just trade back 1 pick.
No, they're saying there are reports. People are saying that they didn't get 33 is what I'm saying. I don't know if that's accurate though.
Let me see. No, they got 33.
They did get 33?
They got 33.
Okay. Who reported that?
I'm seeing just on ESPN. I'm looking. They got 33 from Carolina.
Okay.
But
That's a good spot. That's a good spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just think that a Bills team, obviously 33 and a 5th. Okay, that's what they were saying.
Yep.
They traded back a spot and got a 5th round pick.
Perfect.
Okay, that's good for them.
Yeah, the Bills also now have the 200th pick in their 6th round. So 2 pick swaps for each.
Yeah. Shows that they weren't like they're confident in the wide receiver. Keon Coleman's a guy.
Mm-hmm.
A.D. Mitchell, both of those guys fell.
Wow, yeah.
Jerzon Newton fell to the 2nd round.
Shocker of the day.
Best play available, definitely.
Yeah, not for long because somebody's going to move up. Somebody should make something happen. The Bengals have a history of trading with the Buffalo Bills too, so hopefully that's still in place. But you wonder with all the newfound rivalry. Well, they traded with the Chiefs, so I doubt.
The Patriots, 34.
Yeah, they've traded with the Patriots in the past too.
I would trade with the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Patriots need.
This is some expense. This is the suspense. I said expense. This is the suspense we need going into day 2.
Yes.
And guys, you guys can catch day 2 of the NFL draft coverage with us tomorrow, live from the new First Star Logistics studio. I'm pretty pumped about it. Remember that we'll be doing giveaways as well, and the only chance to win those giveaways is to tune in. Make sure you guys give this video a like. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We didn't break the 4-hour threshold, but we came goddamn close. 3 hours and 40 some odd minutes. And we could have done this without you guys. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of The Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. We'll be live again tomorrow, this time at 7 p.m. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We hope that you guys enjoyed the draft coverage. All in all, man, this was an understandable draft for the Bengals, and I think Bengals fans will come around to the pick. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for day 2, rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft.